the hell?
Hey, there's no content. Shut up, Chike.
Jeremy, don't say it again, because you know you've heard 10 times now. That's
oh my God. I'm going to give you guys 5 more minutes.
No, don't say it again, Jeremy. That's not the point. Listen to what the point is.
He's gone.
For fuck's sake.
He's gone, Veach. He says he's
Chemo, relax. Chemo, relax.
I'm saying Jeremy's gone.
Yeah, I heard you.
I don't know if you heard Jeremy say that. He'll be back in 5 minutes.
I did hear him say that. But Chemo, you don't need to jump in to let me know, because maybe I want to finish the thought either anyway.
Yeah, but you were asking him questions when he said, I'm gone now. I'm going to give you 5 more minutes to get your stuff together. And then if you guys know if it's science or not science, because remember, one baller said...
That's not the argument.
Well, one baller
said...
One baller said we don't know how light works, Chikey. And then another baller says we do know how light works. So Jeremy's asking to get your story together.
It's not about whether we know how light works or not. Just, this is not the point.
It was me and not Chike, and
sorry,
I said that for the sake of the argument.
Sorry, my bad.
I said it for the sake of the argument.
Moman said we don't know how light works, and then
for the sake of the argument, you retard.
Yeah, but Jeremy said, does everyone agree with Moman? And everyone said, no, we don't agree with Moman. And then Jeremy was like, I'll be back in 5 minutes when you get your story together.
Oh my God, Chemo, just stop. You guys are just silly. All you guys do is obfuscate and cause problems instead of just listening to the point.
Chemo, I did it to show Jeremy that he has no observations for flat Earth then, so he's fucked too.
So that's what he was asking. Do the other ballers agree with Moleman that we do not know how light works? And the other ballers said, no, we do not agree with Moleman.
We do know how light works. For the sake of the argument, I said that we don't know how the light works and agreed with Jeremy.
Sounds like Jamie will give you another 5 minutes, because 1 minute you said you don't know, next minute you do know. You need to get your stuff together, is what Jeremy's saying.
He doesn't have his stuff together because he has no observed phenomena for his experiment.
What are you saying?
You don't really need an observed phenomena. That's the point. The point is
yeah.
Here's Jeremy.
But he's science.
Hey, Jeremy.
Listen, I'm very busy today, you guys. We got to make this quick. So.
There's lots of
hold on, guys. Hold on, Jeremy. Hold on.
Now because I kept getting cut off last time. Listen, I kept getting cut off last time. I make one statement. There's no contention here. We both agree that the double slit and the progression of experiments following it is all science, right? So let's move on.
Okay, but that's not the point. The point is not about whether it's science or not. We have a very specific point we're making. It's not about the science question. It's about your definition that you usually try to use for science. Your definition is broken because you can't answer those questions about this clearly scientific experiment. And because you can't do that, it shows you that the criteria that you usually use doesn't work.
This is not quiz time about how we've been up and down the road of science. This is not quiz time about how the scientific method works. This is, we all agree.
You're right.
That this is science.
They're right. It's not quiz time about the scientific method. It's making a point about the way in which you misappropriate and misuse the scientific method. The idea was
been duly noted.
Well, I don't think it has, because people want to know what you think.
We're going to put a pin in this, and we'll come back to it.
You mean, in other words, you have no answers to any of this, so you'd rather just run away?
He didn't say that. He said he would come back to this.
I don't have all the answers.
I don't think he will, though. He's got away twice now. He's run away twice now, and now he's just saying, okay, well, let's just come back to it again. Yeah, I know, you're very... Hold on, Jeremy, no need to funny mute me, okay? I heard you. And then now he says he's going to come back to it later. To me, that sounds like somebody who has no answers.
This is a red herring. This is not important. It's not in contention. Why debate about this if it's not in contention? It's science. We both agree. Let's move on.
It's not about whether it's science or not. Stop strawmanning.
Then it's science, then we agree.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the way in which you apply this criteria. Usually,
I'm not going to help you out now.
This is a red herring, because this is not how I approach
red herring.
What is a red herring? What is a red herring, Jeremy? Stop saying this shit. First straw man, then red herring. What is a red herring?
Red herring is a fish that they tie at the end of a something or other, and then
you just don't like the point being made, Jeremy. You're afraid of the point that we're making. You have no good answers for the point we're making, so you're trying to get out of it.
Listen, you guys need a few more minutes to cool down, or
can you listen to what Veach is saying, Jeremy?
Kind of cowardly,
Jeremy.
Very
not to lie. Closely with these guys and hear what they're saying. So, Veach, can you just be more clear what Jeremy's problem is, where he's wrong, and why you are right?
I think he knows by now. I think he's gotten it. I think he just has no answers.
Jerry, do you have an answer?
Yeah, my answer is this is a some kind of obfuscation or red herring tactic to try to derail us from the point that this is science, and
No,
it
of course
proves
it's
that
science.
they don't know how. Come on, Beach. It is
Everyone
science,
agrees it's science.
and they don't. Beach.
Everyone agrees
I'm
that
putting
it's
my-
science, Jeremy.
Okay, so it's time. So you questioning about whether my understanding of how this is science or why this is science is irrelevant, and
No, because that's not what
on
we're
topic
doing.
at all.
That's not what
Totally
we're
off
doing,
topic and a
Jeremy.
derailment.
That's not what we're doing, Jeremy. Stop strawmanning for the 10th time
What
now.
happened,
Every time you
Chemo,
do
is-
that.
Chemo, what
Listen to
happened
you.
when
You listen to
started-
you. You're not even. You can't even listen to what I just said. You have to just immediately start talking to Chemo. You are strawmanning, Jeremy. We're making a point about what you usually use to define science. You usually
Don't
do
worry
a
about
thing
what I usually do.
because it's broken. We've been trying to tell you it's broken for a long time, and here's a good example to show you how it's broken. So now it's time for you to face the music and realize that you've been using a broken idea.
Okay, it's not broken. This does have natural observed phenomenons and independent and dependent variables. All right, we're not going through that. This is a derailment and a red herring.
You
Let's
can't
stay
go
on
through that
topic.
because you have no answers.
See,
Yeah, you have
Chemo,
no
what
answers.
happened? They started clutching at straws at the beginning,
Right.
saying, "All right, we don't know how light works. This isn't science. Oh, it is science."
Yeah, we're getting
what's your natural
conflating
observ-
answers, Jeremy. We're trying to nail them down to a particular point, and Veach is helping us figure out if it's science or not science.
No, that's not the question. Stop strawmanning.
What are you helping us with then, Veach? How are you correcting us?
About whether his definition of science, his criteria for defining science is
It's not in
broken.
contention. We both agree. Why you want to debate on something?
We're
that
not
we both
talking
agree
about
on?
whether it's science or not. Stop strawmanning, Jeremy. You're being so dishonest.
I'm not strawmanning.
Can
I'm
I-
telling you, we both agree this is science. Let's move on.
We both
think
agree it's
Jeremy
science, but that's
forgot his
not what we're
original
trying to
premise.
talk about.
Scott.
Which is,
I think Jeremy forgot his original premise
Well,
of the,
yeah, Veach
when
has
he
been
came
obfuscating.
in.
Beach has been obfuscating for so long. I almost did forget my original premise. You're right.
Me. Do we know how light acts in the double slit experiment?
Well, I think we're making headway here, Jeremy. It was a very good point because if they don't know how the double split works, then,
Double split
do know.
thing.
We do know how it works, though.
1 minute you don't know, the next minute you do know.
Oh, who said that we don't know how light works in the double slit experiment? Jeremy said that we don't know.
Jeremy's
But
asking.
we do know.
Emo doesn't know. He called it a double split.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you.
Give
you
him
The
don't know how
banana
light
split
works.
experiment. Here's what I know about the banana split experiment.
I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, you guys don't know
This
how
source-
light is.
Do you know? predict
No,
what light does
Jeremy.
in the double slit experiment.
You're
know?
trying to struggle to keep semblance as the walls come crashing down.
Nothing's crashing down, bro. You guys
Soon
don't
you'll
know how
look
light's
towards
moving.
the subsolar point and act like you're the first one to discover it. That'll give you to October to hold on to your fantasy.
I don't know. I only got 6 people for that.
You guys.
Jeremy, can you
That is
predict what the
all.
light does in? Can you predict what the light does in the double slit experiment?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do know how the light works in the double slit experiment.
You don't know why, though.
Yeah, but we don't know what it does. The why is kind of irrelevant. The result is what we need.
It still has scientists dumbfounded to this day. They're confused and just in awe of this behavior of light. The point is, you don't know how the light's moving from the mountains or Blackpool to you, the observer. So you can't say that you do. And when you try to just say, "Oh, refraction, we got the refraction numbers," which you don't, and you say, "Oh, we have the perspective numbers," which you do, that's a straw man to us because we're saying there's something else out there about how you don't know how light's working. You don't know how it's moving through that.
Well, here's the thing. What
At the same time-
what matters is the predictability of these claims. All right, we can make accurate predictions based on these scientific measurements, based on this math that we have, and we can then demonstrate that these claims they reflect reality. These predictions reflect reality, and
I
that's
can
ultimately
predict
what
it.
matters.
I can predict it with the same math you use. Just switch it to, instead of Earth's curving, it's an optical effect.
I would pay money to see
I
you
can
do math
predict.
like that.
8 inches per
I
mile
would pay
squared.
money to
8
see
inches per
you
mile
do
squared.
math. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's how the lights, this phenomenon.
No,
of
we're
light that
talking about
seeing is causing
refraction. We're talking
No,
about
that's the straw
refraction.
man. That's the straw
And-
man.
and-
See, you guys want to
No,
straw
no,
man
but
us
we
with
can
that all the time.
listen. It's not. We can make predictions about what we expect to see given certain atmospheric conditions, and then we can test those predictions and find that they hold true.
If you don't make a straight line to the object and test where it actually is in reality, how are you going to test it?
Jeremy, I have 38 videos on my channel.
Hold on
dealing
a
with
second.
reflection.
I asked him a question.
I don't understand what you're trying to say. What you're
can't draw-
saying is
if you
just
can't make a-
gobbledygook.
If you can't make a straight line to the object and long distance,
What is a
atmosphere,
straight
then how-
line?
If you can't make a straight line to the object in reality and long distance through the atmosphere, then how are you testing this?
I don't know what you're talking about. What do you a
You said
straight
we could
line? What does
test
that
it.
mean?
You said we could test it. How are you testing it?
You using math. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't test reality using math. That's
Sure
not
you do.
We
brilliant.
make mathematic predictions
Oh
and
my
then
God,
see if
you
those
guys are
mathematic predictions reflect reality. I don't know what you're talking about.
Chemo, there's nothing I could do with these guys. You hear what
Maths
you
is
just
just
said?
an
I
idea,
mean,
Snack. So you have an
It's just an
idea of
idea.
how you're going to apply geometry to the real world, but it doesn't comport.
It's like saying words are just ideas. That's what he's saying. I mean, come on, it's so silly.
No, because we've tested your idea. You said the idea is that the Earth is 3959. Went out there to the beach, 1 foot observer, and we found that there's no way it's 3959 because the geometric horizon is further, a lot further than we were told, if there is one. That's pretty much.
Chemo,
what
does that
Jeremy
mean
said.
it's flat, or does that mean it's large? It's a larger sphere than we thought.
Could be a bigger ball, right, Dr. Bob?
Answer the question I asked.
Yes, the horizon is in a different place, means the drop is somewhere else. That tells us we're on a bigger ball.
Okay, so you're on a
Chemo.
bigger sphere than we report.
Yeah, we know the radius of that bigger ball as well.
Okay, so we have a bigger sphere
Mm-hmm.
than is being reported. It's not flat.
No, we've found that the Earth is a bigger ball.
So the Earth is a sphere, Chemo.
Yeah, it's a massive, massive ball.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Welcome
always
to
agreed
reality.
that the Earth was a big ball.
Yeah, but it fills up the entire space. There's no space around that ball. Just ball.
Well, if it's a
there's
ball,
the
there
ball.
must be something around it.
No, just ball. No space.
Just ball, nothing else.
The board.
Oh, but there's a couple of
Chemo.
there's atmosphere, yes, but there's atmosphere and ball, and the ball is massive, like 2 million miles the radius.
Do you have the math that shows that?
Yes, we've
Because, I mean, QE doesn't even claim more than 250,000 miles, and he can't do the math either. So I'd be very curious as to see how you did the math to say that the Earth has a radius of 2 million miles.
No, that's what Adam.
And just out of curiosity,
Adam calculated 2 million miles. Adam Meakin.
Okay, so you don't know the size. It's still a sphere, though, and it's a sphere of finite size.
It's 2 point something million miles radius.
Show me the math for that.
Ugh.
Do you think
If not, you're just repeating garbage that you heard on YouTube.
No, I can take you to the guys. Oh, let me check where Adam is now. Let's see.
Just present the math.
Hold on. Let's find out where Adam is. Around.
chemo.
Yeah.
Are you claiming that in the Black Swan that what's visible is the geometric horizon?
No. We didn't calculate using that option.
Yeah, you did.
We calculated.
there's only one horizon. There's only one horizon. I don't know why you keep using words like apparent horizon, There's one horizon.
We calculated the
Isn't
2
that
million,
2 or 7?
2.1 million radius. We're using Ranty's image.
Wait, what?
Present the math.
Yeah, right. We've done the maths already. You've just missed the show, Bob.
Oh, that one where he photoshopped the mountains. That one?
Ranty?
It might be, but then it might not be. I don't think it is that one. But what we do know is that
Adam photoshopped the mountains.
Okay.
Why would Adam have to Photoshop the mountains, Chemo?
I don't know.
Well, you're the one claiming he's the one that came up with the whole 2 million miles.
Yeah. Through Ranty's image, we can see that where the geometric horizon should be, and it gives us a calculation of 2.1 or 2 point something miles.
How?
2 million miles, sorry.
How?
Because we calculated where the geometric horizon should be in Ranty's image.
How far would the geometric horizon be at 2 million miles radius, Chemo?
Adam did give the number. He gave the numbers. Again, I haven't really
but you can't
I haven't
figure it out
invested too
yourself,
much
though.
time into this because again, there's nothing here that suggests it's worth looking into. But the guys that did, they figured out, well, if the geometric horizon is here, then that would give us a radius of I can't remember what he even said, 2 point something million miles for the radius. Okay? Now, obviously, I'm going to have to get
How do you
hold of
figure that
Adam.
out? How did you do the math to figure that out?
There's no point shouting at me. Okay? I told you the guy who did it. Okay? We're going to have to get hold of Adam.
Okay, so you're just repeating garbage you heard. All right, I got you.
I'm just repeating what Adam has told us. Yeah, I am just repeating it. Yeah, that's right. What? I didn't work it out. Adam worked it out along with QE.
So the Earth is a bigger sphere, and you're repeating garbage. All right, so that's two things that you've clarified for us today. Thank you.
Yeah, bigger ball.
Welcome to the globe.
Well, ideally, someone would go to the center of the Earth.
Last point, Lemon, then you can take it on. Now remember, we are different types of globers. So if someone asks me what kind of glober are you, I can say a 2 million mile radius glober. See? Go ahead, Lemon.
Sure.
Actually, you're a stupid glober.
No, just like Ranty is a glober, I am a 2 million mile radius glober if that's the kind of glober I choose to be. See? Sorry, Lemon,
Anybody
go ahead.
can choose to be an idiot. It's a free world.
Go ahead, Len. I'm sorry about that. I just had to get that last point out because if I'm a glober, you've got to ask what kind of glober. And I'm a glober that has no space because the board takes up all the space around it and just leaves a little thin layer of atmosphere just around it. That's my model. I have a board. Does it work?
We have a thin layer of atmosphere. How thick is the atmosphere?
So does my model work? Just tell me if my 2 million mile radius model works or not. Does it work?
No.
There you go.
No.
Well, that's the model I'm going with. Lemon, sorry, you can
So
carry
your model's been disproven.
No, it doesn't work because then days will be way longer.
Does Ranty's model work where there's gravitational anomalies making water flat?
Yep.
That works for you? Oh, I hope you recorded that, Chemo.
Look,
well, people like this model for some reason, but you'd think that the Earth would be a big comet with its atmosphere, materials and water trailing behind it if it was, anything that's intuitive. How does this thing move through space with water and stuff stuck to it like Velcro? It just doesn't.
No, it's not moving, Lemon. My 2 million mile
comets and other things that are much smaller.
Lemon, my globe doesn't move. It's got no space to move. All it has is just ball, and around it is a bit of atmosphere, and nothing around that is just ball. The entire Earth takes up all the space in my model.
Well, Chemo, you and Lemon sort out your story, all right? We're going to go with yours for right now. The Earth is a sphere of 2 million miles.
Well, Lemon, what's the radius if you're on a board? From the geometry you've calculated, Lemon, if you have or not, what do you come up with the horizon? What's the radius of the Earth?
How long would a day be if the Earth was 2 million miles?
No, I'm saying if Lemon went to the beach and saw the horizon and went with the fact that horizon...
Miles? Depends on how fast it spins. But the thing is, we have about an 8,000 mile diameter Earth if you assume that the horizon is the hump of Earth curve from about 6 feet off of the ground for an average human observer, but you're going to get a different value depending on how high you are off the surface and the diffraction limit. So they've assumed that a hump of Earth curve is blocking what's beyond and gotten some math ratios that give an Earth of about 8,000
we
miles
don't
in diameter.
assume. We see it everywhere. We don't assume.
It becomes a big assumption when you don't see curve to the horizon without adding curved lenses or NASA's fake photos. It becomes
No,
a high
we see it with
assumption.
our eyes and with lenses as well.
And we also don't feel this thing wobbling or moving. We feel the Earth tremble, but we don't feel it wobble or move. So it's a bit of a high assumption at that point without real evidence to back it up, at least based off our senses.
Feel it, Leonard. It's too big. You wouldn't feel it yourself. Just like when you're on a boat and it's docked docked, and that boat is actually swaying back and forth, and you don't feel it.
I mean, you'd think that the water would slosh on this big revolving ball, especially if it's pulled this way or that way by the galaxy or the sun. There are no organic indicators to show that we're moving one jot or one tittle, number one. And number two, the horizon looks flat and level.
Where would you feel that movement, Lemon? How would you feel it?
You'd feel it constantly since a circular orbit is constantly changing its direction.
In what direction would you feel it?
You'd feel it against the movement of the Earth as it goes around its axis, as it goes around the sun, as it goes around the galaxy. You'd feel it everywhere.
In what direction would you feel it?
I guess east-west, sure. The east-west direction.
All right. And how did you figure out that it was going to be in an east-west direction?
Logic, reason.
Of which you'd have neither. But tell me exactly how you calculated that it would be an east-west direction.
Logic.
And what's the magnitude?
You feel it along with the motion of the Earth, whatever motion you're trying to impart to it.
Let's make it a little easier for you. What kind of magnitude are we talking about?
That's just math and numbers, and math is useless if the principles used for the numbers are baseless and, not consistent. So based off of centrifugal force, it was very small. But if you're thinking about this logically with all of the Earth's mass and momentum, you would feel at least something if you're feeling 20 miles per hour in a car and not feeling millions of miles with a huge janky Earth.
In what direction and at what magnitude, and how did you determine that?
You already asked. Therefore, you aren't getting an answer because this conversation's going to go nowhere. I said
correct,
east-west.
because you have no basis for the conversation. Thank you.
Okay,
that's number 3 today.
To,
appreciate it.
The radius.
No problem. It's about questions to embarrass, but not to get information. You're going to be prioritized very low in the conversation in the future.
It's not to embarrass you. It's to try and explore your little pet theory here. And you cannot make a single prediction, such as what is the direction and magnitude of the force that you should feel, if your hypothesis is correct. You can't even make a prediction using it. So that makes it worthless.
With all of the vectors that we have in several different directions, you would expect to feel something logically.
Can you calculate those vectors?
You can get a useless number, but that number is useless unless you have another number which says the threshold of human sensation where we would feel or not feel something. Until then, it's a general mathematical prediction.
That we don't feel anything.
Sensation of human sensation, then what the hell are we even talking about?
Okay, so your argument is we should feel something, but we can't feel it because it's below the level of our detection.
No,
is that what you're saying?
Perfect rotation.
No, that's what the globers are saying, in effect.
I'm
not.
Well, what do you say then? What direction and what magnitude is the force?
We would feel a force every time we change direction and vector with all of these different motions around the sun, around the galaxy. You expect to feel something because you're not having a constant acceleration. It's changing.
How much and in what direction?
I already said east-west.
How would we detect it?
Just general numbers.
And how would we detect it? And what numbers would we be looking for to detect it?
We would feel it.
But you've already said it's below the level of feeling.
I didn't say that. That's what the globers are implying, but they don't say what the threshold of human sensation is. They just assume that that's the case because they have a small mathematical number, which is meaningless because it doesn't. It's not coupled with the threshold of human sensation with that number that we would or would not feel. It's just a useless philosophical declaration based off of a small number.
And if we were moving, there would be no atmosphere, Dr. Bob, on a ball. because the atmosphere would just fly off. How on earth does it stay on the ball in the first place if it's moving? What's the answer?
Gravity time.
Ah, magic.
Gravity.
Hi, Chemo.
No.
Hi, Chemo. How are you today?
Hey, Leo, I'm okay. I'm still looking for the evidence of a heliocentric globe. We now know that the Earth has a 2 million mile radius, and we're just trying to figure out how fast does a 2 million mile radius.
Oh, sweet. You know what? I have perfect evidence for you. Go outside and look around at the beauty of the Earth, and then say, wow, this Earth is a sphere. There's your evidence for you.
The only thing that backs
He
here
got
is
him.
NASA's
He
fake
got him.
photo. NASA's photos are fake. We've seen them pulling on people's clothes with harnesses. We've seen the masonry. We've seen the lemming on Mars.
No, you haven't. No, you
Wait
haven't.
a minute. Wait a minute.
You're so. Why would you just see a lemming? Why would you? That blows my mind that you think you've seen just this random rodent.
They're naturally
I've never seen a lemming
They're
in my life. I live on Earth.
They're
I know for a fact lemmings exist on Earth. Why do you think that out of every single place that they could have filmed? First of all, lemmings don't live in the desert, which is, even if they were filming on Earth, they would have had to film in the desert. That's not where lemmings live. Why would you see a lemming in a photo from Mars out of all things? It blows my fucking mind.
Whatever kind of rodent or ground squirrel that was, it's naturally camouflaged to blend it into its environment. That's why it was very hard to spot. We've also seen the duck. We've also seen the, why are you guys spiraling today?
famous,
Can I finish
a desert duck?
Hello?
Right.
Hello?
I'm going to have to start...
The problem with flat earthers finishing a sentence that will last for the next 12 hours.
Let Jeremy finish.
I brought in a very simple observation and experiment. You could go outside and look at the beauty of the Earth and say, wow, this Earth is a sphere. That's all the evidence you need. And Lemon Bird started going off about NASA. I never said one word about NASA.
Now, Chris.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. You could do that and accept the Earth as a sphere, which it is.
Which I have done. I said it has a 2 million mile radius. Jeremy, go on.
It is not a level plane.
I see a flat horizon, Leo. I don't see any curve. Not without a curving lens or NASA's lies.
But I can see that the Earth is actually a sphere.
But what's the radius?
You know how I can see that?
2 million miles.
May need a little bit more flattening.
Do you even live near any water?
Close enough. I've seen like the horizon be flat over like a beach or a pier or something like that. It looks flat.
What?
Lemon,
So you're
Jeremy
looking at the
Lemon.
beach.
We're
Of course
looking
it
for
looks flat.
measurements.
It is flat.
Yeah, but what's
Jeremy
the
said that
If
we
it
don't know
looks
how
flat,
light
that
works.
means it is flat?
Arguing, I mean,
On a beach.
just
That's
some
such a
random
weak
guess-
argument. Oh, it looks.
These guys like numbers, Lemon. They like.
Yeah, I was
things
gonna
to be
say it
measured.
looks flat. Therefore, it must be flat.
I mean, how stupid can you be?
Emo, what shape is the Epcot Center, that dome that they have at Disney World? And I want you to tell me what the radius is without looking it up. Do you know it's spheroidal, and you know that it's that it is, but you don't know the
What's
radius.
really stupid about this is that
It's got flat
just because
facets.
a random person on YouTube named Eric DeBase started a channel about flat Earth doesn't make the Earth flat.
I do.
And Jeremy,
Leo, I
Jeremy
do.
already
I
said
make the
that.
Earth
Jeremy
flat.
Jeremy already said that we don't know how light works. So, Lemon, do you know how light works? Or do you agree with Jeremy?
I don't agree with any flat earther because the fact is the Earth is a sphere.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it appears that light above the level of the eyes appears to ramp down, and light below the level of the eyes appears to ramp up, or light from the objects below the level of the eyes appears to ramp up. From this, one could logically gather that these two zones would smash together into a horizon line, flat or round. But
So
you'd have
I'm an
nothing
observer.
on a flat surface, not on a curved one.
I'm kind of curious.
So you
If
don't agree?
I'm on the beach, Lemon Bird, and I'm standing on my head, is there more light coming in from the bottom or
We've been
from the
doing this
top?
for 4 years. It's time that you answer these questions yourself. If you don't know how to think about this yourself and answer your own question, then I suggest that you watch Life for Short's video so you have a way to
watching some
subject
random
and
YouTuber
answer
who
your
claims the
own
Earth-
questions. Because if I answer the questions and you still don't know how to think about it, It'll do you no good. So go watch the video.
I'm not watching like for some random person on YouTube claiming the Earth is flat. Doesn't make the Earth flat.
Not do you any good because you still don't know how to think about the subject because you still haven't taken on any perspective, Leo. For 4 years. 4 years. Here's Life is Short video. Go watch the video. I'm done answering your pointless questions when you don't know how to think about the issue.
Beautiful morning.
What?
I've
Who's
watched
singing?
the video, and it's
Who's
nothing
that?
but a bold line of bold assertions. How come you put any faith in it?
It shows how the diffraction limit could have the top and bottom zones of vision smashed together to make a horizon line and make stuff appear to set and disappear early and be cut off.
But it's
That
just
is
a bunch
the
of
main
bold
thing.
assertions.
You know what
What is this? The Life is Short video?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know what I really like?
The only
I
one.
really-
the only.
I
It seems
really
like
don't
that's the
watch-
only video you ever watch.
I don't watch too many YouTube.
Why are you spiraling?
I mean, I do watch MC Toon. I do
Why are you
watch
spiraling?
MC Toon. I'm not spiraling. I'm not even talking about colors. Anyways,
Oh my god, dude! Look up the definition of spiraling, please. That word is used so much. It's probably not even what you think it is.
What it means is the
Why
globe
are you spiraling
Earth
right
is
now?
sinking. He's going down, 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 losing control, losing everything that he's known to be true. He's
I'm not losing. I'm very
spiraling.
composed.
Which is
See?
not, doesn't sound like what's happening.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
very
when you
Going
ask
down,
the
down,
wall
and then turn
Earth
it around.
for the
I don't
geometry,
need to reminisce
they
on your
spiral.
past life.
If you ask the globe Earth for evidence, they freeze and they just sink at that point.
No. If you ask
I
a
don't
flat
think
earther
anything.
to explain how the flat Earth works, it's like,
Chima, I've asked you
well, this
for the last 3 days.
we don't know about
Nothing.
this.
Nothing.
You know, when we
You
asked
go
the Earth
you
how
go
the
look at the
concept
beach,
works,
and there you have it. It's flat.
I don't even like the beach
We're looking
though.
for
It's not that
evidence
hard.
to debunk the flat Earth.
That's
Can you
not
show
how
that
it's
the
not
Earth
that
is
hard.
not flat? What evidence do you
When
have
we
to show
ask-
that the
Shown
Earth is
that
not?
yes, at the surface it looks flat, but when you get higher, it starts to curve.
As you get
I'm just
higher,
kinda
you
curious.
get NASA's fake photos to show you a curveball, which is
No, we don't
probably
need. I don't even need to. I don't even need to go to NASA. I
The
have my own
spiraling.
footage. I don't even need to go to NASA. That's the funny
You know what
part.
live streams I really like? I like Bob the Science Guy's live streams with his telescope, because he turns on stellarium and says, I want to point at this star, and he gets the coordinates for that star and uses his telescope, and voila, look, his telescope actually matches what stellarium says.
well, it does
It's
model
almost
the way
like we
it's
can make
so
accurate
not.
predictions
It
using
does,
right?
It models the way that it looks to our eyes, but you got to be careful about those predictions because when you look at the railroad tracks ramping up toward the level of the eyes, the prediction would be it would continue to ramp up. And so
No, we're not.
that prediction doesn't bear out with
looking at
No,
reality.
railroad
it's
tracks
not.
through the telescope.
There
We're
physically.
not looking at railroad tracks through the telescope, Lemon.
I'm not talking
Talking
railroad
about
tracks, I'm talking
predicting
about
what the eye
stars.
sees versus what reality is. Those are two different things
Reality is
based off of the
what
railroad
he
tracks.
sees.
We're looking at a computer program based on the heliocentric model, and then we're looking at reality, saying, "Oh wow, that thing predicted exactly what I want to see."
It's based off of geocentrism. Heliocentrism would give you no prediction because everything would be moving too much. You need to have a motionless geocentric center for observation for your model. So it's based off of geocentrism, if not flatness, since the horizon appears to be flat.
I'm kind of curious, how much is too much? When you said it moves too much, how much is too
Your
much?
own question, Leo. You're not a child.
That's not-
You need to do your own
that's
freaking
not my
research
own
and
question.
answer your own questions.
Do your own freaking research.
Something like
Time to
this.
grow up.
Figure it out.
How
Wrong.
much
It's
is
too much.
much? You said it. I'm just having you clarify how much.
Figure
is
it
too much,
out.
Lemon?
Like a child,
When
you're
it
just
doesn't
going to
feel-
exasperate the adult with your
You're
endless
stating it.
questions. After 3 questions, it's too freaking much. Figure it out.
You're the one that stated it. I wanted your clarification on what you think.
Tell
too
up
much
your
is.
When they ask you
brain.
to stop,
How do
Do
I know
your
what
own
you think?
research. Figure it out.
How do I know what you think? That's what I'm trying to get to. What do you think too much is? Not what do I think it is. What do you think it is?
Come on, man. You're not getting anywhere, Leo.
Too much
You
what,
was just
Chris?
told
What are you?
you're not,
You know what
you're not
talking
going to
about?
get an answer.
Chris, you've
Kimo
got to
talks
grow
over
up.
it
I mean,
like
the
a good
maturity
mod.
level, sheeples. The
Lay the-
maturity here is not
shit to
helping
rest.
you understand anything, right? You've got to. If Chris is asking these questions, sheeple, how can anyone make any progression if he's been a child?
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. And then he carries on to ask, and I tell him, stop, because you were just told you're not going to get an answer. But you're going to subject everyone else to having to listen to the same stuff. Like you, Kimo. We have to endure you, even though you repeat yourself on the daily. So...
Are you hearing this, Chris?
Please.
Just
Please.
digesting.
Stop it. We've got some wisdom that's about to come out of Peace of Mind's mouth that's going to astonish the room, and we're simply cutting him off. So, without further ado.
So, Lemon,
Lemon,
if
you
you agree
trash.
it's a globe, whether it's heliocentric or geocentric, I don't care. It's a globe.
Jackie, we've got wisdom coming from Peace of Mind.
No, he's an idiot.
Here we go.
He's a
Go, Peace of Mind. Go.
Go ahead, Peace
You
of
want
Mind.
to
Let's
talk
hear
over
it.
everybody to tell us. So go.
I'm going to have to lay you all to rest.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's the
Holy
only
freaking
way
crap,
we're
man.
going to solve this.
My goodness.
Holy crap.
That was
the red pill.
That was
that was
phenomenal.
incredible. That
changed my life.
I don't know about you, but that was phenomenal indeed. That was, my goodness. Anything else? I mean, anything else you could grace us with your wisdom?
It's the only way.
Oh, wow!
People.
What a
I don't
fucking
understand
bunch of
why you would
low-hanging fruit we've got left. We've got denial of science, creating things that might be. We've got claims against our model that this is on a flat plane, but you can't reverse engineer it and create a flat, model for anybody to see. I mean, you're stuck in denial. You don't know how lunar eclipses work. I mean, you're batting 1,000 against not answering today, and you still hold the position and the audacity that you think you're right.
Did you
Fucking
not,
grow
did you
up
not
a bit.
just hear Lemon and I talk about growing up? Now stop whinging like a child. Okay. Let's look at the scientific evidence.
Child play make believe. That's
Stop
what you're
whinging.
doing, child.
You're whinging and whining.
And you're in your 40s, you sad, sorry fuck.
Stop crying, sheeple, and provide.
No, I'm just. It's a reality. It's a reality. You're a
Grow
grown-ass
up.
man, and you hold on to fantasy.
Look, still childlike
Sheeple.
behavior. Grow up.
Shut your mouth, kid.
You sold out, sheeple.
I got paid handsomely. You would have done it too.
I can't believe the Earth is flat. Can't prove
You
it.
can't
I
show
prove
the
my
Earth is
board.
flat. And Peace of Mind, I gave you 6 questions, and you've got no answers for all 6 questions, and you have the gall to speak.
It's like those questions mean anything. I don't know why you globe earthers think you have anything of meaning, of substance. I mean, again, you've just been told to grow up. I mean, you're just like a child stamping around saying, oh, listen, listen, listen. You want us to listen.
No, you are, Kimo.
If you want to grow up and us to listen to what you have to say, you have to be able to provide an experiment and demonstrate what
Do you
you're
dress up inside your
claiming.
fantasy?
You're in the playground too, Kimo.
Okay.
You're the one living in fantasy
Yeah, we're
and
like the
make
teachers
believe.
in the playground saying, don't go into the stinging nettles now. Get out of there. You're going to hurt yourself. Come back into the main area. Now, the main question is, do you have evidence or an experiment? So you go off running back into the stinging nettles. No. Come over here, kids. Come on, it's dangerous over
Do you
there.
have anything
Pay
to back up
attention.
Lemon's claims, Kimo? How about that? Should we start there? Because Lemon doesn't.
Again,
Lemon's got, well, maybe it is, and maybe it's this, and it could be that, but it's not this.
You need to grow up, sheep.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't say what it's not if you can't show what it is.
Dumping around the playground is not going to help your situation.
Oh, yeah, okay. Talk to me in your condescending tone, like a nice new way to deflect, rather than
Sheeple.
making shit up. You just claim something I'm not doing.
Nobody owes you
Make
nothing,
questions,
sheeple.
and you run from them. And
We
you
don't owe you
have 6
anything,
questions,
sheeple.
still awaiting at least one answer.
I
Peace of
don't owe
mind.
you nothing.
Yes, you
Kimo's
do.
not going to give us any evidence.
You're 0
He's
for
worried.
6, my friend.
Kimo's
It's
not
a
going to give us
bad-
any evidence because he's worried we'll try to escape the flat Earth.
Yeah.
Hey, Chemo, I got one quick question for you. Why, when Lemonbird made a claim about the stars moving away too fast, and I asked him how fast is too fast, why am I asked to grow up when he was the one crying about it, not me? I just asked him a simple question about what he said.
That's because the Earth ain't moving.
He's saying to you that you're old enough, big enough to figure these things out for yourself, Chris. Are you still a child?
Well, how do I figure out what Lemon believes if Lemon doesn't tell me?
It was
what
your
he believes?
question, Chris. What was your question to Lemon?
No, my question to Lemon was: he said the stars are in the heliocentric model. The stars are moving away too fast.
Why did he say that? Off the back of what?
How fast is too fast?
No, why did he start talking about stars?
I don't know what he thinks.
No, but you're in the conversation. What did you say for him to talk about stars?
I said, oh, well, I was talking about Bob the Science Guy's observation of this with using stellarium and it matching with what he sees in reality. And then Lemonbird pipes in and says, well, the stars are moving away too fast in the heliocentric model. And I asked a simple question like, Lemonbird, how fast is too fast?
Well, that's what you're saying.
And
if you figure out,
grow up,
if you
I'm
figure
told to
out,
grow up and go research. Lemon, answer the question. How am I supposed to know what Lemon thinks too fast is?
I'm going to
How
tell
am I
you
supposed
now.
to research that? How do I research what Lemon thinks too fast is? How do I research that?
Because he's saying, I think something to the effect of, if you remove the presupposition and go with what you can measure, then those stars will not comport to what you measure. You, Chris, personally, in reality. If you go with your model, which is a presupposition, then of course anything can work. But in reality, that's not what we see. You see?
No, you're missing the point. How am I supposed to know what you
So
think?
I said
am I supposed to know what you think if you don't tell me what you
child, and that you're not coming to any sort of real understanding. We answer your questions, and you come to no real additional understanding. The questions keep coming in a new form, like you're not really assimilating or learning from the answer and getting any new information. At that point, you need to formulate your mind in your own way, because the questions will just be unending from an unformed mind that doesn't know how to think about the freaking issue. That is what was childlike. The ceaseless questions without any sort of real learning, because on some level, your mind is not prepared to think about the issue, number one. Number two, I didn't say that the stars were moving too fast. Now, in the cacophony that is this room, perhaps that's what you heard, or perhaps some sort of mind vomit just erupted from my mind, but I'm on the record now saying I don't say the stars are moving too fast. So I don't know where the hell you heard that from, unless it just erupted from my mouth, with my mouth working faster than my mind. I don't think the stars are moving too fast in any model at all. So I'm wondering, where the hell did you get that? I think you heard the cacophony of the room, and then you interpreted something that I may not have said. I'm going on the record now and saying that the stars are not moving too fast for any model. Now watch Leo forget what I said and still ask the same question 2 or 3 weeks from now, like his mind hasn't assimilated the information and hasn't developed one iota, one jot, or one tittle. But Leo, did you want to respond?
Well, it's kind of like how Chemo comes in and asks the same questions every day.
Well, Chris still here. Did you hear any of what Lemon just said?
And say things, but then when you press it on it, you're going to double back and claim you didn't say it when you actually did say it.
We can run it back, but I don't remember that being said by me at all. Does anybody else remember me saying it? Anybody else? Any of the other gaslighting mindfuckers in here? Anybody?
No, I don't remember that.
I'm not saying, I don't say the stars are moving too fast in any model at all.
Maybe now that you've said that, maybe you
sometimes
can
my mouth works faster than my mind, and I say stuff that I run back and I'm like, huh, did I say that? But I'm in clear control of my faculties right now. Okay. And I don't think the stars are moving too fast for any model. So there's the record for you, Leo. You can take it or leave it or repeat the same freaking thing 2 weeks from now. But I'm going on the record now, Leo. So please assimilate this information. I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm about to be done, though. Please assimilate this information and please think about this deeply, Leo. Thank you.
I heard the same thing that
I just want a
Lale
clear
heard,
answer when
man.
I
I
ask
heard you say that.
about
That's what you
something
said. Now, you can deny it all you want to, but that's what you said.
Yeah. I just want a clear answer when I ask you a question about what you think and you understand. I want a clear answer instead of running away from it.
Leo, you don't think about things enough to assimilate information. Therefore, answering your questions is a useless exercise. So I really don't like interfacing with you or interacting with you because you don't develop your mind.
You just don't want to be held to your claim. You just don't want to be held to whatever you claim at that particular point in time. That's
You is pointless and irrelevant, but now I'm going to go and do the legwork of rewinding this and see what exactly came out of my mouth, or see if you guys are just gaslighting the shit out of me and fucking with my mind. Have a nice day.
Yay!
You too.
See,
Thank you
I'm
very
told to draw up, and he's the one that sounds like he's crying, not me.
There was a lot of things
he's
said,
just
though.
Highlighting, Chris, that the immaturity is clear for us to see. Yes?
Immaturity is palpable on the flat Earth side.
Oh, look, I've given you the model. What more do you need?
You don't have anything, Kimo.
Got the Walter
Your
Bismarck
model-
flat Earth model.
What you do is you use your mod powers to take over the room to tell us the same things while deflecting the same questions day in and day out. What you are, and as an example to any new flat earthers of how this room's going to dismantle them. And what they do is they run back to places like 24/7 and Nathan Oakley, where everybody knows their name and everybody agrees with them. That's why you get skeptical running from the 2 words Lunar Eclipse. That's why you get peace of mind cheerleading and interrupting like a child, immature fuckwit, and can't answer 6 simple questions. After 1 week, still 0 for 6. And you, Chemo, in complete denial, probably the most hand-fed flat earther of them all.
Well, we only have 3 questions for you. We make things rather simple. We ask you for a measurement of curvature, show us how the Earth is spinning, and to show us space next to the gas pressure. Very simple thing. So that's not that difficult. You're saying there were 6 questions for flat Earth. Well, I mean that's going to take forever to answer. But 3, I mean, you can just answer one of those, and that will be enough for people to accept the model or the idea. So I think, curvature is not that big of a deal to measure. You should have done it already. Rotation, that's another easy thing that you can just observe or measure or science it in some way.
Measure indeed, yep. So what are the 3 questions?
Well, I just said,
Curvature.
where is the measurable
curvature? Missing mountains, higher peaks from higher observations.
I didn't ask you about
seeing
optical illusions.
Seeing shorter in the distance.
I asked you about measurable curvature.
North Island of New Zealand to the South Island of New Zealand.
see?
You cannot see it. You have to travel on a boat to
Can't
get a
even
point where you can
answer
look
one
over the
of
curve
those
to
3.
see it. And what else?
optical, and you don't know
Rotation.
how the
Bob.
optics-
Bob with this gyro. There's all 3.
Bob
Okay.
said that was the
Everything you just mentioned.
the atmosphere or something else.
And the atmosphere. Sorry. Yep. You're a moron. Vacuum comes from the etymology of the word vacuous, meaning space between, nothing between the particles that interact.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the highest level of vacuum, there's still particles interacting.
Why doesn't
There's
the
no
gas fill the
complete
space?
vacuum next to air pressure for the final time.
Why
So that's
doesn't-
all 3 done and dusted before I even finished my drawing.
Why doesn't
So-
the gas fill the space?
It is filling space, you fuckwit.
Oh, gas
But
is
only the
filling
most excited particles will reach what we call the, highest level of vacuum.
So, Leo, I went and rewinded back the chat about 14 minutes ago, 15 minutes now, and I said everything's moving too much, not moving too fast, moving too much to have a stable baseline for measurement of what, if anything, the stars are doing. You need to have an unmoving geocentric center for observation, otherwise you will move out of the way, move too much, to make any sort of long-term prediction or long-term observation. That
Yet we do.
not too fast, too much.
And yet we do.
I think, is Leo still here? I'm not sure if Leo is still here.
He was muted just then.
Was he? You muted it.
So he heard none of that. Sorry, deafened and muted. He heard none of that.
Right.
But we'll let him know. But yeah, it's funny. Like they've still been able to predict the stars 20 years ago.
Look, no one's talking about
now.
your stars. I asked you three
In
very
any
simple questions.
place on anywhere
Where
at any
is
time.
the
So
measurable
knowing
curve?
the movements, we
you
can
see, you don't even let
predict.
me
So
speak now.
that's not going to work out
These
for you, is it?
questions you're afraid of. 1, 2,
No,
3.
no. I'm just making it clear. There was a claim made there, Chemo. And I
ABC
just
1,
cleared it
2,
up.
3. Easy for the baller. 1. Where is the physical, demonstrable, measurable curvature? 2. Where is the measurable observation of is and or, like Lemon says, and or is both measurable and or observation of
What the
rotation?
fuck are you saying?
Rotation. And or is measurement and observation of Earth rotating. Where is that? Don't have it.
Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, if that's the ether or the atmosphere or the stars or something else. We don't have and or is. With...
Positive claim that ether is inside the
You
gyro.
have to prove
Is that what you're
the
saying?
Earth is moving, Sheepo.
Bob did,
Right.
child.
So flat earther proved your Earth was moving, even though he told you a different answer.
Yes, and he kept the results for over a year and a
the
half.
first simple question is, how do you have gas pressure
Red flag.
adjacent next to a vacuum without the gas filling the space or a physical barrier in between? 3 simple A, B,
Travel
C,
overseas.
1, 2, 3.
Travel overseas, Chemo.
And
Climb
you start
a mountain.
talking about
You'll work it out.
stars before you answer the curvature, gas pressure, and rotation question. Oh no, let's go to the stars, the magical sky that gives us reflections. And
No. Somebody made a comment about Bob the science guy. Then Lemon jumped in claiming that it's not this and it's not that. So the stars were brought up and attacked and then defended. You're trying to bring up things that I already just mentioned to you.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. A, B, C.
You can
1, 2,
provide
3.
an alternative explanation for the following. Why I can't see the top of the South Island from the North Island, or the bottom of the North Island, so just across the water, which you claim, and I quote, is always flat and level. You can also explain, other than the atmospheric gradient being created by the mass of the atmosphere under the force of gravity, you can provide an alternative to that, and you can also provide backup for your positive claim why the ether is inside the gyro that Bob used.
You cannot
Lemon
show
is our expert on the
curvature.
ether. Okay. I'm just saying that this gyro thingamajiggy could have other causes, being as we've never observed Earth rotation, never felt it. You say we
Right.
shouldn't.
So I just
Fair
said
enough,
to you,
fair enough, we
provide
shouldn't feel it.
another.
Whatever, we
right?
shouldn't
I
feel
just
it.
said to you.
But you would need to show from the moon.
So that's your.
that
So
the Earth is
that's
spinning.
great. Okay, move on. Next one.
Gas
Can we
pressure
speed
next
this
to
up a
va-
bit, man? We don't have to do this big, long out, drawn out chemo speak. We can just get through
I've just
to the
said
next
1,
point.
2, 3, A, B, C. Rotation, gas pressure next to a vacuum.
Yeah,
and measurable
rotation still
curve.
plausible under the model that we provided. Next.
A bit long about this.
Okay.
Atmospheric pressure caused by what?
The reason why we're taking
Go.
so long is because you're not answering the question.
Fill a
I
tank
did
up.
answer. You just said you don't know, you're not an expert on ether. Although
fill
your
a
claim
tank
was,
up.
before I pressed you, was ether in the gyro.
Anyway, someone's trying to say
So
something.
next.
Somebody trying to say somebody be trying to say something.
Yeah.
What do you want to
fill
say,
it-
piece of mind? Astound us again.
Fill your tank up with water and show me curvature.
You're a fucking moron. Quiet.
What's wrong, sheeple?
Get quiet.
No.
Try-
Speak up.
Quiet.
Speak up, reincarnated humans. Speak up. Ask the question again. Say it again to him.
How come you can't do it? How come you can't fill up a tub and show me curvature?
Is that a real question? I mean,
My
seriously.
God.
Well, let's
You know
find
for a
out.
fact
Find out where it
the
leads to. Where will
is
it go?
thousands of miles across. If it were a sphere, would that bathtub show
Okay,
any?
what kind of tank are you going to fill that's going to show me the curvature then?
Good
And you see reverse zenith angle starting to deviate at 500 feet. So,
At how many feet, Moyak?
the first places you can measure
Moyak, how many feet? You're cutting in and out. How many feet?
500 feet, give or take. You can do a reverse
500
zenith angle.
feet.
and show
Yeah,
that.
because you know we've only got something 250 feet.
Oh, we got something at 250. Okay.
Yeah, we've got that swimming pool David showed, and we've also got that liquid glass.
Right, but nobody's measured the reverse zenith angle.
Yeah, the liquid glass has been measured, and there's no deviation
No,
whatsoever.
nobody can measure the reverse zenith angle. Show me the measurement. Show me the measurement.
You see, that is absolute proof that the Earth is flat.
Shut up, you stoner.
The reverse zenith angles, plumb lines, all deviating everywhere you go is proof that the Earth is flat.
So you can't show me. You
You're
can't
like a
fill out-
half-baked cheerleader.
People, stop talking when
Go
you're talking.
flat earth.
Get like so excited. Why would you do that? You think I'm just gonna talk when you start talking?
Disgusting. I mean, this isn't a room of adults, and we have to listen to this bullshit. That's
You want
why
him to-
Earth
you want him
is
to stop
flat,
talking.
man. Because I said so, man. I mean, come on. This is the
Can't
caliber
even show
of
one-
defense against your flat Earth.
People,
None of you
I'm
are
asking you,
fucking
what do you want?
qualified.
Do you want him to stop talking?
I want him to shut up, yes. Unless he's got something valid to say. And when it's his turn to talk, I want him to talk his wisdom, not talk through people all the time. You notice?
Let's try now then. Go and ask him a question, or he can ask you a question.
Okay.
I have a question on the table.
Well, hold
Fill
on.
a tank up with water.
Let's
You're
get reincarnated involved a little bit. Yeah?
Fill a tank up with water and show me the curvature.
Okay, reverse zenith angles do that. You say that reverse zenith angle deviating all over the world is proof of the flat.
I go with what Moyak said.
Where's it at?
I posted something in the chat for you there. It's marked for Sheeple's Phoenix, and it's at 20 minutes past the hour, and it's to transcontinental triangulation of the Americas and the arc of the parallel.
I just downloaded it. I'm having a look.
And more recently, there was the main surveyor did it live for us.
Is it the Ark of the Covenant?
Could be.
Yes, but there's all these skeletons around it with Nazi uniforms.
They all died. They weren't
I
worthy.
wonder if they looked at their uniforms and said, "Oh, they got skulls and stuff on them. Are we the bad guys?"
Could be the bad guys.
Stolen joke. Credit to David, whatever his face is.
I don't even know what movie that's from.
I'm
It's from a
expecting
TV
a
series.
YouTube video here that's going to show me curvature.
Are you, man? Far out, man. When you find it, man. Show it
What's
to
so
us,
hard?
man.
I told you to fill a tank up with
Show
water.
it, man. Don't hold back, man. God, you waste some fucking time. And it's yours you're wasting.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Dude, ask a logical question. Or answer the one I said. You claim water's flat and level. Why can't I stand on the bottom of the North Island of New Zealand and look to the bottom of the south, to the top of the South Island of New Zealand? Why is there a big water bulge in the way?
Hump.
Hump.
It's a
Can
hump.
you do what I asked for?
Whoa,
Reincarnated.
man.
Anytime you want these ballers muted, we're gonna test what it's like if you were a mod. So anytime you want these ballers muted, just say mute him, and he will be muted. We're gonna see how you would handle. We're gonna see how you would handle a room full of ball earthers reincarnated.
Chemo, mute yourself.
Let's begin.
Chemo, mute yourself. Let's see if this
begin,
works.
You can hear me reincarnated, yes?
Yeah.
So anytime you say mute him or her, we will mute them, right? So you can get what you want to say out. We're gonna test if you had control of the room. Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, go for it.
Okay, fill up a tank with water and show me the curvature.
Hey man, I sort of thought through this? If the ball was 25,000 miles around, how much curve would you expect to have in that tank, and how easily could you measure that amount of curvature?
Well, how big's the tank, first of all?
It shouldn't be that hard.
Well, yeah, but like it's 25,000 miles in radius. I'm sorry, 25,000 miles in circumference. So, like, I would think you should be able to tell exactly how much curve you would expect. And then
What kind of scientist? Mute him.
Okay.
What kind of scientist are you?
Little J, what exactly do you want? Be specific.
It'd probably be a good idea for you to say unmute him as well if you want him to answer your question, FYI.
Fill up a tank with water and show me the curvature.
I think the question he asked was, how much curve do you expect to see in a tank, a small tank of water?
Wait. I'm trying to understand what he wants to see.
He did, Mike. He said mute him. Talking about you.
I think you can unmute him so he can answer now. Because he asked him a question right after that,
Well,
didn't he?
I don't know.
That was the funniest part.
Reincarnated.
Fucking idiot.
Do you want him unmuted?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Fuck you.
All right.
Oh, you.
Anyone else?
Do you have an answer though? 'Cause
Yeah,
I also want to hear the answer. Go, reincarnated, whatever your fucking name is today.
What do you mean?
What
I'm
is the answer
asking
to
you
the
guys.
question that he asked you?
There is no curvature. What the fuck?
No, he asked you.
Haven't you figured
How
it out
much
yet?
would there be on the Earth as big as he claimed, about 25 miles
I'm not claiming
around?
nothing. I'm asking you to show me the curvature.
How much do you expect to see? He asked you.
Show me.
Nothing. Zero curvature.
Zero.
Right. So you
Okay.
think to measure the waters of the Earth, we fill a bathtub?
A tank.
How big's the tank?
Doesn't matter.
10 feet long.
So it doesn't matter.
Your
But
job is to show
It does matter
it.
because you're the one dictating how big the tank has to be. How big?
If I have zero, and if you can't beat that, that's proof.
No, dude. You're claiming that we need to fill a tank. Please specify how big the tank needs to be to achieve what you wish to
As
see.
big as you want it to be.
Big as we want it to be. Okay, I
Yes.
choose the size of an ocean.
That's a big tank.
Mm.
Which ocean are you talking about?
Be Pacific.
Yeah.
Smaller
Any
than
ocean will
that.
do.
Smaller
Any
than the
ocean.
ocean.
Smaller than
There
the.
are
Oh, now
quite a
we're
big
getting
number of
somewhere.
oceans.
Now we're getting somewhere. See, it's not that hard.
How
You
about
just
the
gotta
North
wake
Sea?
up.
I gave a very simple example of how we can measure the distance of the Earth. Someone could drive from New York City to LA.
No, Leo, no. Don't get away from the stupidity on display here with logic, okay? We know what
Oh.
you're gonna say. We wanna expose the stupidity so the stupidity can cease or at least decrease. We don't want to let them get away from this crap they just brought up.
Mute him.
We want to hammer them with it.
Did you just say mute him?
All right, so I'm going to hammer Lemon. He did actually
Did
say
you
they
just
move
say
way too
mute
far in the
him?
heliocentric
I heard
model.
mute him. Did you say mute him?
No.
No. Okay.
Nobody said mute.
Okay, how big do you want the tank to be?
12.
Well, you're the one dictating. We need to know how big it needs to be and what you expect to see. What would be a successful test? You know, these type of things. You can't just say shit like fill a tank.
For a 10-foot tank, the curve would be 0.0000027 degrees.
You guys are dictating how big the tank.
What
How big
curve?
does the tank need to be?
Oh my goodness.
How big does the tank need to be?
Well, it needs to be at least a mile for 8 inches, and a half mile for, like 4 inches.
You think you can eyeball? If you think you can eyeball a 1 degree curve, then the tank needs to be 69 statute miles wide.
Isn't it actually 69.11?
The old flat Earth killer scale.
You're not going to eyeball it because we know optics is
How are you
playing a trick on us, and we don't.
How are you
Wait,
going to get?
Jeremy, eyeballing it, you're using optics. You have to close your eyes. So
That's why I
sheeple.
just said, Lale, that's why you can't eyeball it.
Yeah.
Duh.
So
It's
you
like
can't
you're not
say
listening.
flat.
You
Yeah.
can't use any
It's
type
like
of
you're not
op-
listening
anyway,
and you just say stuff.
We'll just go with
Anyway,
the tank. That's
hey,
about a half mile long or so.
sheeple, you asked the size of the tank. How about 12? Does that suit your fancy, sheeple? Size of the tank is 12.
12 is good.
This pool
12 is good.
is 250 meters.
No, 12.
There you go.
Reincarnated just said that it's 8 inches per mile and 4 inches for half a mile. So
Yeah,
you're
and you know
even
we got
wrong on
that
your
wrong.
equations.
Yeah,
Come
I know.
on, man. Why you gonna suppose it? I
Yeah.
know Moyak had something to say, you guys. Why y'all muted?
Okay, prove you're on the ball then.
Here, little G.
If you're afraid of water, show me the curve.
I showed you. Half a mile, bit less than half a mile long container with water. Drop. That's it. That's the curvature.
No, Chike, we're not doing the Adolite, and you're not using you're not using any lakes. You're just using a tank.
Get some coffee, mate.
A regular
What do you
pool.
want? Then what you want?
A tank weighs something. And
can you
guess what? If you fill,
Hey, Leo, I'm sorry about that. By too much, I meant that if we move around too much with heliocentrism, you don't have a stable point of observation. Geocentrism puts we're not moving, which is a nice, stable place to make observations.
Lemons, we're talking about something else right now.
And I'm
in a globe,
apologizing.
Lennon.
Sorry about
yeah,
that.
we're talking about a
You go
tank
back,
of
Lemon,
12.
to listen.
Hey, sheeple.
What's that guy's name again?
His name's
Oh,
Sheeple.
Reincarnated. Hold on. Hey, Reincarnated, I posted a picture of a line in the chat. So take that line and then zoom in on it and crop it.
Yeah, then what?
And tell me if you can see it curve. Tell me if you can see it curve. If you
Stop
zoom in on
moving the
it.
goal. He said you asked him what does he want. He said a tank.
Yeah,
Guys, always
there's
do
already tanks and pools and stuff. So you guys can't show the curvature. So
Well,
therefore
the
it's not.
question is no, but the question is, hold on. But the question is, how much curve? How are you expecting to measure that slight curve? How exactly do you expect to measure that?
With a plumb line.
In a small tank.
Oh, you don't
go
do
to
that.
each side and you measure it.
When have you measured curvature with
With
plumb line?
with a tape measure?
Plumb
Yeah, you just go to
line.
each side, measure it all the way. Do whatever.
What do you want to see, little G? What do you want to see?
Hey, B-ball.
I agree with him.
Hey, B-ball.
This is why you know. This is why you know.
No, we're trying to have a conversation here.
That's not. You're asking a really dumb question. Oh, show me the curve in a tank of water. That's kind of dumb.
Show me
That's
the
a
whole
really
ball
small.
Earth then.
That's a really small scale. How much curve do you expect to see on a really small scale?
Hey, B-ball. On a 10-foot long,
Jesus,
fish
Lane.
tank. Whatever. On a 10-foot long fish tank, I don't think there's a tool on Earth that is sensitive enough to measure the curve of the water on that tank.
Yeah.
Why did you say 10-foot long?
I think there is.
This isn't some joke, Leo.
Little G.
You couldn't decide.
What do you want to see?
How about 10 miles?
We
How
need
about
to
a
see
10
it from
mile
the small
size
scale
tank?
to the large scale
Then we
to
could be
believe
able to
this.
measure it.
we have to have
If we had
faith
a
that it's
10-mile
occurring.
tank of water,
This shows how
if we had
absolutely
10 mile by 10
ridiculous
mile
you
tank
are.
of water,
You need
But if
anyone
we
had
can't
muting
measure it in the small
reincarnated?
scale,
It's your call.
hold on.
We're
If we
doing an
had a 10
experiment
mile
for
by
about
10 mile
30
tank
minutes.
of water,
Yeah,
then
so
we'd
just
be
call
able
in
to
your
measure it.
mutes whenever you want them.
Well,
if we can't measure it in the small scale, how do we know that it's even occurring in the large scale? How do we know beyond NASA's fake picture?
It's measurable, but it's very,
we're not even
very
talking about that.
hard to measure something that small.
Do we measure
You need
8 inches per mile squared of
you need a
curvature?
you need a very precise tool.
Do we measure 8 inches per mile squared of curvature? I'm going to assume no. I'm going to assume that we're assuming that it's at the large scale, magically.
Would a string work? Would a
A
string
laser
be
would
precise
work.
enough?
Laser
No,
would
it wouldn't.
laser
No,
measures
I'm talking
you
about,
guys
like,
poo them away.
It's
So what
sad.
will you guys accept as a straight standard to measure the curvature of the Earth against? NASA's fake photos, questionable lenses, questionable pictures that are diffraction limited. What are you going to accept?
When I talk about lenses, Leo, Lemon, we're not talking about any of that stuff.
Well, Lil is
It's too
awesome, but
small
the
to
thing is, you don't have a straight standard, so philosophically, your position is untenable. You're saying that there's curvature of the Earth, but you don't have a straight standard to measure.
That's too small of a scale to try and measure.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Hey,
Give us
B-ball.
something. Give us like 10, 15 miles, then we'll talk.
Hey, B-ball. Even on
Even
a
2
10-mile
miles,
wide one,
we can measure that. Go ahead.
Wait, B-ball. Even on a 10-mile long fish tank, which I don't think you'll be able to find, or you'll be spending a lot of money creating it, you would have to have a tool that could measure 145 thousandths of 1 degree. Is there a tool that can measure that?
No, you could just measure the drop.
Yeah, you don't need
Leo,
to measure
you're so
degrees.
fucking stupid.
You make a rigid square fish tank that's not curving with the Earth. Then you measure the water from the edges compared to the water in the middle. It's not that fucking serious.
I agree with that. Or you could just create a horizontal and then
It's sad that
measure
this is
the
all
drop,
it takes
yes,
to
on the other end.
debunk the globe, and here we are.
No, you're not
Here
debunking anything.
There that you're
in the-
smoking away your future.
in the year 2021, and you guys can't fill a tank up with water.
Dude, it's 6 years on. You haven't got a model for flat Earth. That's even more sad. And what you have to do is you have to borrow globe science, globe understanding, globe logic, and then
What
be like,
kind of
it
scientist
doesn't
are
work.
you? What kind of
But you
scientist are
borrowed
you?
it first. The thing that's so hypocritical about the globe stance is they made the globe model vis-a-vis the flat model that they expected. They expected light for everything to their eyes, forgetting about the diffraction limit and the way that our eyes actually work. So now we have to go back and correct the mistakes of our forefathers and get diffraction limited sight over a flat plane to get an accurate vision of what's actually going on.
That's a great point. Here's the problem. 2 points, really. You vis-a-vis, created the globe from the flat Earth. Well, then reverse engineer it. There's your model. And 2, diffraction in a camera is when parts that are distant or harder to capture begin to become fuzzy. Nothing
All right. We're trying to
do with the
facilitate,
eye.
all right, Sheeple.
Nothing to do with the
Sheeple.
current observations on the table.
We've got to ask,
and diffraction is not so bad that we can't discern what the
Sheeple.
hell we're looking at to make out the mountain peaks.
This is
So
not the
there's 2
direction,
points.
that
Please
reincarnated
reply.
human wants to go, or is it?
No,
I'm
no.
not sure. Is
No,
this the direction
Lemon
that you
can
want to
talk.
go, reincarnated?
Lemon can talk.
Yes,
Lemon
but
can
we're
talk.
trying something out, Sheeple. So, Lemon, reincarnated. Do you want this to go in this direction? Do you want to ask a board of something more specific? Where would you like this to go?
Why are you babying him?
Oh, they're trying some new
thing
thing where they give
People
the
for life,
speaker the
be
power.
quiet, it's nothing to do with you. Now, reincarnated, can you direct this a little bit more? And direct your question to a board. And remember, if you want anyone muted, just say mute them, and they'll be muted immediately, and you can get back to your point. Yeah?
All right.
Okay. Try again.
So we're going to fill a tub or a tank up with water, and we're going
How
to
long
show
is the
the
tank?
curvature. Leo.
How long is the tank?
Mute him. Oh yeah, hold on a minute.
you want the tank to be very long, like a half mile
How long
or
is long?
very long.
Mute him or not mute him?
Define how long very long is. Because to a baby, very long could be like 15 feet. But to me, very long could be 300 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, a long tank
Define long,
is
though.
supposed to
You're not-
show
How many
curvature.
feet? How many feet?
It doesn't. If you have a very long one, it doesn't matter.
How
It's
long is
supposed to
very
show
long, though?
curvature.
You're being vague. You're being too vague. How long is very long?
Long enough to go with the tolerance of the measuring instrument. If it can measure an inch, then we need an inch of curvature, and a tank long enough to register an inch of curvature. What is that, like 100 feet or something like that?
Exactly, Lemon. That's why we need to know how long the tank has to be. You know.
So let's what
you can't measure.
100.
You can't measure.
Why do you think you're on a globe if you can't even show this?
You can't measure. You can't measure 7 nanometers of drop with a tape measure.
Well, we do have tools to measure that small, right? I mean, they do claim that they're measuring 1/10,000th the width of a proton at LIGO. So,
And how? What instrument would you use? And how would you attach?
whatever you got, break it out. Break out your instruments.
You just measure the tank from each side.
This is
And
Or we could just measure something a lot longer.
This is like real science, guys. Come on.
Or we could just measure something a lot bigger.
If you really think you're on a globe, you would do this already.
Why do you?
Or we could just measure something a lot bigger.
Ask us how to.
How about you define how long this tank is before we go do something that...
This guy is an obvious troll. Why are you guys entertaining?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, B-Ball already have done it. He's pointed a theodolite.
No, nobody
the
fills tanks up and shows.
Here, I'll show you a tank.
But the theodolite doesn't work because you're dealing with perspective. You're dealing with perspective and curving optics, so the theodolite doesn't work. And if you're going to let a theodolite work, well, why won't you let a laser work?
Guess what? When you fill a tank
Then you
up,
can go to
it
LIGO
doesn't
and
curve.
measure.
It doesn't curve from each side. That's the
Here,
problem.
You can
here.
go
Here's
to
a
LIGO.
15 mile. Here's a 15-mile tank of water. There you go. And we can't see the bottom.
You would think somebody had already done it, but they haven't. So there you go.
Hold on, which
just posted in the
which
chat.
is your argument? Which
Show
is your
me,
argument?
show
Because
me
you're
2
saying
inches
you're
of
saying two
curvature
things.
of
And I'm
water
going to ask my question.
Right there.
in a
You're
tank.
saying, you're saying two things. You're first
Show,
of all
show me
saying
2
that no one
inches
has
of
done
water
this,
curving
and
in
then
a
you
tank
are also saying
because
that it won't curve. It doesn't curve. So have they done it? Because you're making
no one
you're
has
making
done
a
it.
claim that it doesn't curve. There you go. So you have no reason to make a claim that
Man,
it doesn't
please.
curve.
You guys are all over the place, man.
Who's next?
What do you
Can
mean
you
we're
see
all
it
over
or
the place?
not?
Look,
I mean,
I just
seriously, he
posted
wants a
a
tank. Give him the numbers or shut up.
and then when those numbers are given, then what?
Well, let's see
just
what
kinda
happens when he
curious.
says next. Then why
I think
don't you?
someone already. I think someone already gave those numbers.
You guys have been all over the place. 10 miles, 1 mile, 2 miles, 10 feet. I mean, no one said
He's
shit.
the one saying we just get a fish tank and fill it up and of a certain length, but he's not giving us the length of
Hey,
that length.
Adric, didn't you just give those numbers for a 10-foot tank? How much curve you would expect?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did.
Now let's talk about the minimum. That we
Hold
can
on,
get it
listen,
to.
wait, listen. Here's the numbers. Go ahead, Adric.
For a 10-foot tank, now I haven't calculated in terms of drop.
What kind of globies are you?
Wait, hold on.
We're the most amazing ones ever. Yeah.
For a
There
10-foot
you
tank,
go.
the curvature would be 0.000027 degrees.
And do
How
we
many
have-
millimeters is
There you
that
go.
from difference
There's
from
your
middle to
numbers.
edge?
Hey, Adric,
There's
is there
your
a
numbers.
tool on Earth that can actually measure that curvature?
I don't know, but
There
I don't
should be
think there
pools
is.
big enough. There should be pools
like
big
this-
enough that can.
How many zeros?
And
Wait,
if
how many
there's not
zeros did
pools
you
that
say? You
aren't
said
big
like 5
enough,
zeros,
then
right?
that's sad. That's proof right
you
there
Like
that
I
there
just
Can you
said,
stop
life.
talking?
like I
Adric?
just said, we do
How
have
many
tools
zeros
on
did you
Earth to
say,
measure
Adric?
that small of an amount, and
Yes.
they're measuring way less than that at LIGO.
So
1/10,000th the width of a proton.
They're
So we
not
do have
measuring
tools
that.
to measure-
Why not
we
make
do
it
have
easier?
tools to measure
Why
that
not make it
small of an
easier?
amount.
I'm just
use
trying to be
something a lot
You guys are
larger.
spiraling today, big time.
Why
Jeremy,
not make
Jeremy,
why
you
not
can
make
go
it
to
easier and
LIGO.
measure something a lot larger? Like what's
Why not
Yeah,
use the
Jeremy,
best
you can-
tools we have?
Yeah,
Because if
Jeremy,
you try
use
to
the
measure
best
something
tools.
larger, you're gonna have optics involved. So why not try
Yeah,
to measure
Jeremy.
something shorter? Oh my God, what man? I don't want to steal
Yeah,
the show
go
from
to
this other
LIGO.
guy.
Go to LIGO with a water level
They're
and
not
see
gonna let us
if
play
it's.
around in LIGO. Shut up with your
Yeah,
nonsense.
then
Go
you
ahead,
can go there. You can
let
go
the other
there.
flat earther go. Go ahead. You're just nonsense.
Where's your evidence that you can't
Go
go
to
there?
LIGO with a water level.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
go
Yeah,
there
sure.
you can go there on a tour, can't you?
Yeah,
Anyways,
you
go
can
ahead,
easily
other
go
guy.
there.
I don't want to steal the show from the other guy. They're spiraling anyways every time I talk. Go ahead, other guy.
Yeah, how
Jeremy,
how
define
big do you want the
spiraling.
pool to be?
We only need a pool that's 2,000
15
feet
miles.
to register 1 inch of curvature down and away from a straight line starting at the origin. So do we have a 2,000-foot pool anywhere? I hear that there's a 1 mile indoor pool in Europe.
Look, here's a 15-mile pool that I posted.
Okay, then we'd expect curvature down and away from the tangent to the starting point at 15 squared, 225 times 8 inches, roughly a
But they
third of.
didn't build the pool. I bet they didn't build the pool like a box. They built it like a curve.
But how do we know that? I mean, it's so baked we can't tell if it's
Right.
curved or straight because we don't have a straight standard to measure the curvature against. Don't you guys think it's suspicious that we have a baked definition that effectively mixes and melds straight and curved together with one equivocal definition? Don't you guys see a problem with that?
No, because the rest of the explanation is cohesive and works simultaneously anywhere you stand on the globe Earth model.
The philosophy is just too warped. We need a straight standard to measure the curvature against. Otherwise, it's just a big philosophy.
We don't even need 1
tested
inch.
time and time again,
We can
Lemon,
go
by
for a
the
shorter.
observations we make.
If you
Each
can't even
time
separate out your
reinforcing the other one.
If you can't even separate out your definition to make a coherent observation, then what we're talking about with this philosophy is just it's unworkable. You need to separate out straight versus curved, and you need to measure the curvature against this straight standard. Period.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And we do that because we can measure man-made curves, and bends and things like that, and we can measure things using 2 plumb lines at either end. And if it's a completely perpendicular line between them, then we know that it's completely planar and horizontal. But
you need to do it over
stop
an
talking,
indoor
please.
pool.
And the final piece is that surveyors have never measured a perpendicular line between 2 total stations.
Well, a lot of this is being done visually, and that's no longer justified because not all light that reaches the eye is interpreted as a 2D image. Once it's beyond the diffraction limit, we have a real problem. And so at this point, we need something that travels straight and true over the curvature of the Earth, like a laser or something to measure the curvature of the Earth against. We just can't get around it.
Terrible idea.
You see, the water doesn't lie. The water doesn't lie, and I would rather trust the water than
How do you know that?
than to trust you
How do
guys.
know it doesn't lie?
Because I can walk up to the tank and measure it myself.
Verify that the water
Because I
doesn't
can
lie.
walk up to the tank and measure it myself,
We can do
and I
that.
can
We can
prove
put
it
it into a
myself.
lie
Yes.
detector. We need to verify that the water doesn't lie. You cannot just say that outright. You need a lie detector, and you need to put the water in it.
Then where's your test?
Hold on, this
Where's
sounds
your
like
test?
this sounds
Yes,
like
it's
another
our test,
version of
it's not
Force the
yours.
Line.
It's really sad.
This isn't forced line.
I mean,
It's filling a
Lemon
tank
just
up with
said,
water to show
what,
your curvature.
2,000 feet or something?
Yeah.
And you're meant to be showing an
Recon
inch? If there's any deviation in that construction, any deviation at all across 2,000 feet, and if it gets incrementally worse and worse and worse, you're not even going to have a flat container for it. I mean, you don't understand scale. You don't understand engineering. You don't understand any of these things, these true problems we face. But all engineering takes into account gravity and center of mass and all of these things. And lo and behold, shit works, shit floats, shit holds together. And no one in their flat earth is qualified, including everybody in this who's, VC who's speaking. And you think you've got the fucking globe-ending answers?
No, man. The water.
And when I
doesn't
ask you
lie.
a simple question, why can't I see the South Island's top from the bottom
Stop
of the
talking
North
about the
Island
stars.
in New Zealand? It's an island.
Stop
it's
talking
land.
about the
It's
fucking
land,
stars.
you child. Why can't
The
I
water
see
doesn't lie.
the South Island from the bottom of the North Island? If your claim water is flat and level, there should be no obstruction, and the water shouldn't certainly be blocking it. But across 114 miles, there is a clear bulge of water.
Yeah, we're not
you said
going 100 miles of water. You're filling a small tank up with water to show that it's curving.
Small tank.
And if it's not curving,
In a
you don't
small
have no
tank,
ball.
In a
That's
small tank.
that's the black swan for you.
You have to
right
listen
there.
to this shit.
That's the black swan for you right there. It's not to force the line. It's not to force the line. It's the black swan. Fill the tank up with water.
You said
There you go. You have it. No curvature. You lose.
We love the black swan.
Reincarnated human?
Black swan.
Hey, reincarnated. Are you sure that's what happened?
Earth globe killer, the black swan, baby.
Yeah. So you
killer.
If you're citing the black swan, as
The
an
water
argument,
doesn't lie.
Next to optics anymore.
I have
some
Yes,
lie.
the water doesn't lie.
Sea
And the
level
water
of the
curves.
world.
So we now know it's a globe because water doesn't lie.
But the thing is, you guys have this Neoplatonic standard of what a straight line is.
Yeah,
You
but
think that if the
water
light is
doesn't
traveling straight to
lie.
your eye,
Water
that it's going to
doesn't
be
lie.
interpreted. That's wrong. So because of the diffraction limit, the light that's reaching your eye is not always interpreted as a 2D image. So this will be interpreted as curvature in error by globers, number one. Number two, water does bunch due to electromagnetics. It bunches up, has forces that act on it, but for all intents and purposes, it is flat and level. It does not curve due to gravity. So you guys have a wrong impression.
They're not. More unsubstantiated claims, Lemon.
This is logic and reason and evidence. Something that globers have used for 500 years because they have been under the spell of this globe.
Lemon, if you're going to swallow your mic, everyone else is going to have to swallow theirs to be heard over you.
Sorry. But the thing is, not all light that comes to the eye is interpreted as a 2D image, as the diffraction limit states.
Lemon, I
Yes,
see
it
your
is.
logic. I raise you some measurements.
What use are the measurements if you don't know how to interpret them? We got to work on the philosophical level on your mind, what you're ready to accept and what you're ready to reject based off your philosophy.
Who says we
Same
don't
to
know
you,
how
Lemon.
Who says we don't know how to
The two opposing philosophical levels ramp up to meet the middle of your mind. Okay, guys?
Well, the philosophy that this lens is bringing you an accurate view of what's happening and it's being blocked by Earth curvature is a bad philosophy. It forgets about the diffraction limit.
Lemon, there are
Have we
videos.
tank now? Have we finished with the fish tank?
I guess.
I have a question about the fish tank. He
Yeah.
said that the water doesn't lie, and
That's
he's
the
good.
black
He's
swan
done.
for you.
Can I speak? He said that he has measured water to be flat. So I would like to know what your error margin was and how big was your tank.
And I'd like to know how you made sure that the meniscus didn't obliterate your curvature measurement.
And I'd have to back up all those inputs.
And
You have no tank. You have no tank that you fill up with water. So
No, but you said that you've done it. So I want to know about your measurements. You said the water doesn't
No.
lie, and you said that you've done it. So
no, I
Well,
didn't
that's-
say I did it.
No, see,
Okay.
his position
Oh, you
is
don't know I did.
doing it. His position is there's no point doing it because the water's flat. That's called making an assumption.
Well,
That's
Taking
called
the
a
question.
Well, the thing is this.
I didn't say there's no point in doing it either.
question.
Well, this reveals some of the global hypocrisy, ironically, as well. To have a measurement, you need an unchanging unit. If you're going by vision and theodolites and surveying equipment, you have no unchanging unit for measurement. Perspective is effectively making the units of vision that you're seeing through converge, merge, and disappear, making your units change all over the place, so you have no baseline for measurement anyway. So the thing is, you're talking about measuring something, but you're using a philosophy and a method that has no baseline for measurement at all.
That's nice, Lemon, but every optician, ophthalmologist, physician, physicist in the world disagrees with you.
Listen, the water will debunk itself. If it's going to curve, it will curve. If it's not going to curve, it's not going to curve.
Just smoke again.
You have to measure it. You have to fucking measure it.
So that is the true test. It's not the force of line. It's not anything. If you want to prove your globe, you're going to have to prove the water.
If you want to prove your globe, you have to prove your globe. If the apple is an apple, the apple is not a bee.
It's not hard. It really isn't that hard.
What?
It
Yeah,
be.
it isn't. It isn't.
This is like 101
Amazing.
right here. This is like 101 Black Swan.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to measure a nanometer.
If it's hard, it's not a black swan.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome
Why
to
don't you go
stupid
do the
Earth.
experiment? Why don't you go and do the experiment yourself? You're constantly suggesting experiments and then demanding that we do them. Fucking do it yourself.
Yeah, and not only is he suggesting experiments, he's kind of claiming victory. So he hasn't done the experiments, and he's supposedly proposing, but at the same time he's claiming victory. Oh, I know it's gonna happen. What's gonna happen? This is gonna happen. Therefore, I win. Ha! You guys lose.
It's the
a
Bev
childish
argument.
game.
Amazing.
It's the Bev argument. You come up in your mind with an experiment and then claim victory without ever having done the experiment.
So here's an experiment, and I think that this will happen, so it's true, and I'm.
No, I don't owe you guys anything, so I don't want you to. I don't want you guys to play me like that.
I can say back
They
to
did this a
you.
lot now. You guys, y'all did flip the position a little bit. We were asking what would he want to prove the curvature. Y'all had him.
Yeah, and we exposed his ignorance on the topic, Don, didn't we?
Yeah.
Not really. I'm gonna be honest. It was a little messy. He was talking about pools and this. He may be ignorant on it, but
And you know
it
what?
still stands.
You know
have
what?
you? I'm still, but still, we could have a rigid tank.
It's a black
we'll
swan.
demonstrate it, and it's not there for him, right? So we
Yeah,
just
but
say
here's the thing, Don.
Okay.
They're always talking about a natural phenomena and all that crap, right? So how is building something and putting water in it a natural phenomena when we gave him multiple, 15 miles, I gave him 114 miles, crickets, it's just because this is black swan and the water doesn't lie. The water does not lie.
I'm with you.
That's
Sibo.
correct.
I do hear what you're saying, but I think we got to a very important part about the contrast from expected meniscus to curvature, and then that's where it's kind of like, well, we don't know enough about it now. But
it's not about knowing about enough. It's these tolerances, the tiny measurements that would have to be achieved because the Earth is so vast.
It's not a tiny
On our
measurement.
model, the one we're defending
You just
right
measure
now.
the tank from one side to the other, or you just
Yeah,
measure
again,
the tank from each
across
side.
across
You don't have to measure across; just measure each side.
no across.
Yeah,
that
you're making
distance.
it way too hard.
No, across
Yes,
that distance.
you are. Yes,
the
you are.
curvature
You're filling
to
the tank
measure
up.
is so small.
You just have to measure
You'd have
each
to make
side.
sure that the tank you built was absolutely precise. Absolutely precise. Because if it was off at all at any point, it would then be off further and further past the point of the measurement that you're trying to make. You don't understand that because you smoke too much fucking weed.
look, I think that we can make a precise box. It's about
Yeah,
how
it's not
how
that
big-
hard.
No, it's
Really,
it's the
dude.
measurement. Look,
Really.
We could.
What he's
Within
suggesting
an inch.
is that you try and bore out a cylinder head using a normal steel tape measure. It's not accurate enough.
Or you
Absolutely.
can bore a cylinder head with a tape.
But can we get to where we're talking about what the actual like doable threshold is? You know what I'm saying? Like if we're gonna try to get an inch, because I'm sure we can make a box that's, you know, within a millimeter or something straight along all edges, and we could use a string or something to verify that. So now we need something like 10 times more than that. So we need like an inch of curvature. Well, we need like what, a half a mile, a quarter mile?
No, you'd need an eighth of a mile.
An eighth of a mile for an inch?
You're gonna.
How much do you need for a quarter inch? That's all you need is a quarter inch.
Do the fucking math.
Yeah.
It is just ridiculous.
That's sad that you can't
show
trying, though. I mean,
can't show
seriously.
curve in water.
Doesn't have the mathematical skills to calculate the difference.
I have to have mathematical
we can show
skills
curving
to
water.
calculate the distance.
If 8 inches is a mile, how much is a quarter of an inch? Do the fucking maths.
Planet Earth can't do math.
It's 1/32nd of a mile. For fuck's sake, this is grade 6 level maths.
When explained in detail, you have.
That's because you don't need to put math into reality.
You don't need math in reality?
So how big is the pool?
Math is not reality.
How big's the pool at a quarter inch?
Reality.
I would like you to go to the supermarket and try to go through the register and tell them math is in reality and see what they tell you.
That's different because that has monetary value.
That's exactly.
You guys are taking my statement out of context.
Oh, I'm not taking it out of context.
The globe only exists in mathematical concepts, is what I'm trying to say to you guys.
Describes reality.
You see how a 200-foot pool debunks the globe?
You guys are taking what I said out of context. The only thing that I said that made sense, what you guys should have interpreted, was your globe model only exists on a mathematical format. It does not exist on a physical. It does not exist on a logical format.
Shut up, dickhead.
Awesome. Guess what? Buying stuff at the supermarket also is built off
Yeah, that's a false analogy because you could use math for that. You can't use the measure curvature. You can only estimate. You can only estimate curvature. You can't physically measure curvature.
No, when it's physically casting its own shadow on another physical object, that's a physical Earth, Joby.
It does it on the flat surface too. Just depends on how far the light source is, and we don't know how far the sun is.
Sure, dude. That's why no flat earther can explain the lunar eclipse. If it's not the Earth casting the shadow.
Nobody can explain the lunar eclipse. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows if something's blocking the object.
Nobody on a flat Earth.
Models are reification fallacies. Try again.
No, Bon, we can explain it. We can explain it without problem.
I mean, you can make something up, sure, but that doesn't mean
it's not making stuff up. It's a valid explanation. It works on our model.
Yes, and it's not proven.
It is true.
What do you mean it's not perfect? It's perfect. It's proven and it's perfect.
You have an astronaut in space and you saw the moon. You saw the sun go in front of the moon.
The sun go in front of the moon? Are you fucking stupid?
Who doesn't want footage like that? Where's the footage?
The sun going in front of the moon. You just said sun going in front of the moon. I can't believe you jumped into this debate with that bullshit.
Point the camera up one time.
The sun goes in front of the moon.
Jose's channel.
Yeah, that's called a solar eclipse. That's called a solar eclipse. That's when the sun goes in front of the moon. That's when you can't see the moon at night. That's when you can't see the moon at night. It's called a solar eclipse.
Tell us again. Explain a solar eclipse. Go.
It's when the sun goes in front of the moon.
The sun.
Now look, guys.
The way he's serious.
If you dropped off a satellite,
the sun goes in front of the moon.
Went away.
I got tears. I've got tears, Joey, in my corners of my eyes.
The sun goes in front of the moon. Yep.
Yeah. Y'all have satellites everywhere. Y'all certainly have a satellite that has the sun and then the Earth and the Moon behind it, right? Like obvious.
I'm going back.
I'm gonna show you how simple
Somebody
it is to
clip
model
that.
a lunar eclipse.
Somebody
Check this
clip
out.
that,
Why
please.
does the sun go in front
I'm
of the
laughing like a
moon?
maniac. I'm sorry.
Oh my
What's in
god.
front of the sun? What's in front of the sun so we don't see it at night? Another moon?
The moon is in front of the sun. That's called a lunar eclipse.
It's another sun. Don't you know?
Wait, say that again?
Interference. It's another sun.
The
Don't you
moon-
know interference? You have
Well, the reason why you can't see the moon is because it's at, like if you're in America, for example, and the moon. I mean, sorry, the sun. The sun would be in China, right?
No. But what's the lunar eclipse?
The sun
What's
is
the lunar
definitely
eclipse?
not in China.
Shelby, say the sun goes in front of the moon again.
You had no credibility to begin with. The sun in
That's
front of
when
the
the-
moon just tanks it further. Just stop.
But then the lunar eclipse is a solar eclipse. Fantastic.
That's your level of understanding
Fantastic,
about this
Joby.
model.
That's
There
why.
on display.
That's why you are where you are.
You literally can't Google this. If you Google sun in front of the moon, you will not get any.
Yeah,
This
even
doesn't
dumb.
happen.
It comes back
Wait, I
to
will
results
Google
found. Go back to school.
Why would the sun go in front of the moon?
That's crazy.
How
When
can
does
the
it do
sun
that?
go in front of the moon? More like it.
Well, it can, but not from on Earth. I don't think.
Joby,
They do go in front of the moon. It's
Don
you know when
think
you know
about
those days when you see the moon in the daytime. That's when it's in front of it.
Oh,
For a second.
Look.
What did you do?
Joby, I hate to tell you, but
How
Don would
close
drink
would the
Kiwi's
sun have
piss
to
if he
be
called it Kool-Aid, and even
in order to
Don
go in
is
front of the
agreeing
moon?
with you, so you know you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
My goodness, Joby.
Job, that was a new low. for
That
you,
was
man. That was a
epic.
new low.
That
You're
was
not wrong.
epic.
Wait, what? Did he just say he's not wrong?
well, he's
So the sun goes
clarified what he meant. He meant like during the day when the moon is still up during the day. But they don't ever go
What
in
he
front
said
of it.
was,
doesn't
is
go
the
in front of
solar
the moon.
eclipse
What the
is
fuck?
when the sun goes in front of the moon. Then he said a lunar eclipse is when the moon goes in front of the sun. Okay?
Job, this
That
is
is
why you look at
completely
models.
wrong.
A
Both
model
wrong.
will explain it.
Everything you could mess up, he messed up.
Yeah. It gets real hot during
This is why
the
models are
lunar
important. Job, this is why models are important.
really
Why would the
fucking
moon
hot.
go? Why would the moon
Well,
go
models
in
are
front of
important to
the sun?
reify.
No,
No,
Jamie.
Of course.
You
Stop
see,
trying to
the globe
reify.
model.
Know what's going
The
on.
globe model was created by Copernicus, and then they tried to justify it 2,000 years later.
2,000 years later than Copernicus. What?
No, not light years. That's a distance. I mean years.
What?
Why would they burn him?
2,000 years. Pretty sure that's a little bit closer.
Don't do the poll thing this hard, man. It's you got your time periods and your persons and everything mixed up there.
Joby, how does the sun go in front of the moon?
Sorry, not Copernicus. Not Copernicus. Pythagoras. I meant Pythagoras.
Joby, isn't
Yes,
the
sir.
sun supposed to be farther than the moon?
Stop, man. Just stop.
Oh, it depends. It depends on the solar cycle.
Jesus
Are you
Christ.
are you thinking about mediocrities?
Mediocrity.
Joby, are you smarter than Copernicus? Pythagoras?
I mean, he was smart to fool a bunch of idiots like you guys too. Not really.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Professor. We didn't know that he
Yeah.
Don't call me a
Well, us
professor.
idiots,
I
and
don't-
you
I
say
don't
the
spread
sun
dogma.
goes in front of the moon. Then you
How can
say
you
that
prove
the
me wrong?
lunar eclipse is when the moon goes in
we
front
have
of
to
the
prove
sun.
you wrong. We have to
No, I said
prove
the
you
solar
wrong.
eclipse.
The solar
Yeah,
eclipse.
yeah,
That's
the prove me wrong.
wrong.
No, you didn't.
A solar eclipse is when the sun goes
I'll
in
be right
front
back,
of
guys.
the moon. You're saying it again. Did you just say it
This is
again?
fantastic. This is fantastic.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can be
fucking
stupid
God.
and hang out in this server long enough to know that the fucking moon.
So when the
just a
when the
Jovian
sun goes in
set.
front of the moon, is that summer?
I can't even finish that sentence, man.
If it's possible, that's even dumber than there's an invisible object which goes in front of the sun.
Oh, Okay, but is it dumber than this?
What size
The
tube do you want?
ISS is a B2 bomber with
I don't know if we have any
custom
more.
engineered invisible parts. So when it makes a transit in
Let me
front of
ask.
the moon or the sun, that's why we see the
20
silhouette of the ISS.
I mean, it's not behind the moon anymore. I kind of give it to. I mean, it's not in
You're doing that
between the
thing.
Earth and the sun, but I give it to him. It is in front of the. You know what, guys? We got to give him the benefit of the doubt here. If there's a front of the moon side, which is the side that faces Earth, and there's a back of the moon, which is
Yes,
always
give
the
the
side.
guy
It's
that's not
always the same
serious
side.
the doubt.
We actually might have to give it to him here.
Please do.
Is there any more 20-inch bike tubes?
No, because the
There's
sun.
one, but he wants another one.
We orbit the sun.
No, we just
so
got
there's
one.
no way that the sun
Yeah.
can become
Hot
an
mic,
orbit
Joe.
between the
I know,
Earth
but he
and
didn't
the
say in
moon.
between. He didn't say in between.
He said in front of.
Yeah, and it is in front of the moon. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but is it behind? But is it behind the Earth or in front of the Earth?
Yeah, but
He should take the L, Don, and so should you if you want to believe him.
no, I mean, but he was describing like when the sun and then it's blocked out by the Earth,
sun
and then it makes it
between
look
the
like it's
Earth-
Earth, sun. He didn't say in between though. He didn't, and then he
said
further went
in
on to
No, he
describe
said
of.
it twice, or
Yeah, he
literally
said in front
defending
of, Don.
absurd.
Okay? It's absurd.
Is there a front side of the moon and a back side of the moon? Yes or no?
Yes, there is.
The moon
In
gets
front, he
hit
didn't
by the
say
sun's light,
And is-
just
And
like the Earth.
is the
front.
sun in one side during a lunar eclipse and another during a solar eclipse? Yes or no?
What? No.
Just
Well,
know
that's
that
where you're
it's
wrong.
impossible for the moon to go behind the sun.
I guess all good. Does flat Earth have an explanation for the lunar eclipse?
Yeah, that was the initial question.
We deviated.
For goodness sake, can't you
Deflected.
tell when Don is
We
pranking
deviated
you
through
guys?
comedy, those, and levity, so that wasn't
Toby
too bad,
and
right?
Don are pranking you boys, and you're just buying it hot like and
Was that chemo? Oh my god.
yeah, you're buying.
think
the
all you
prank
flat
hook,
earthers are just
line,
pranking
and
us.
sinker.
So can we go back
I
to
think
the
all
lunar
planets are
eclipse?
just
Let's talk
pranking us.
serious,
Pranking
chemo.
everyone.
What causes the lunar eclipse?
I believe it's something to do
you know,
with the
we don't
Aureolus
really know.
Borealis, that thing at the North
What?
Pole.
Oreo Coriolis.
Aureolus.
Aureolus, whatever it's called.
Oreo
The
and milk.
areola.
Sounds like a cake to me.
The
Yeah.
that
areola.
green
Areolus.
The
That
areolus.
green light in the sky has an effect on
The Areolus
Green nipple in the
Coriolus.
sky. The
Aureolus. Yes. Aureolus.
Predictable. How do we know they're going to happen for the next 500 years? When and where?
How do we know? By looking at the clock.
No, I'm saying if it's somehow related to the Aurora Borealis, how do we know? Because we can't predict the Aurora Borealis, at least not to my knowledge. So how do we predict the eclipses?
No, we're just talking about the cause. You're talking about your model. Difference. So the actual cause is possible Aureolus Borealis like. And
We can actually predict the Aurora Borealis, and that's a hard one for flat earthers too, because that would mean that we know what the sun is, what it does, and solar winds.
Okay, there you go. If you can predict the Aurora Borealis, I don't think it coincides with the eclipses.
just one possible explanation. I don't think anybody knows. Right?
Yes, that's the point of contention. We're all ignorant and nobody's figured anything out.
Except for the fact that we know when and where they're going to happen down to the mile. But nobody knows.
No, obviously if you look at the clock, you will know. But that doesn't mean it's based on a shape of Earth. It means you look at the celestial clock, sun, the moon, stars, figure out what time it is up there, when what will.
Still doesn't actually explain the exact. You can know the exact location down to the mile.
Yeah, it's like we know at 12 o'clock the sun should be overhead. Yeah? And we
Wait,
know
what?
we use the clock, the time to tell us where things will be. what time.
We use the sun. We don't use the. This is so ridiculous. Why?
Yeah, but we say 12 o'clock, the sun will be overhead. How do we know that? How do we predict that? That's by looking at the
What
clock.
came first, the sun or the clock?
What?
We made a clock, and then the sun started to appear at 12.
They happened at the same time. The invention of the sun and the invention of the clock. At
Not
the same day.
not a man-made clock. I'm saying the celestial clock. Then we based our clock off that clock.
Oh my god.
That's how you work
What
out
an
what
idiot.
time of day it is. We have to move our clock back and forward according to the celestial bodies here in England.
Oh no.
We don't change.
Daylight
we don't
savings
change.
is
We don't
because
change the
the celestial
My
celestial
fucking
bodies
God.
to suit the clocks. We change the clocks to suit the celestial bodies.
Do you have evidence of that, Chemo?
Pardon?
Do
you
not
have
add these
evidence
two
that
words.
daylight savings is based on the celestial clock, you
Yeah, but we
moron.
base our clocks off the bigger clock.
Yeah. Please fucking repeat the same fucking thing you
I
said
can
like
barely hear you.
10 more times. I asked for evidence of your claim. Jesus
Tell him
Christ.
how the sun is above his head at 12 o'clock again.
Yeah. At 12 o'clock, the sun is above our heads, and we know that based on the sun and the moon. That clock. So we put 12 o'clock.
Why are you deflecting?
Deflecting what?
I said back up your claim that daylight savings is due to the celestial clock. Go.
Daylight saving. I'm saying here in England, we adjust our clocks so we're not either in too much light or too much darkness. We adjust our
What is that process called?
Yeah, I'm saying we adjust our clocks according to the sky.
Oh my god.
Not the other
you're
way
fucking
around. We
retarded.
don't adjust the sky according to our clocks.
Oh, when was
That's
the
why
last
we
time that you
change
had?
our clocks.
The clock is
Emo, what was the
arbitrary.
last time?
The sky is what happens ultimately. So I mean, I don't know why you're bringing up clocks with it.
Emo, when was the last time that you had the sun over your head in the UK?
Oh, I don't know.
Ah, yeah.
The sky is the clock. We know the plot.
That's what I'm saying. That's
You
how
know?
we know when these things will happen. You just look at the clock.
Yeah, the sky is the clock. We know the plot. You know, why plus
All right.
why would they lie?
Okay, cool. But can we just get down to what causes the shadow?
The Aureolus Borealis, I just told you.
Is that something
What
new?
the hell is the Aureolus Borealis?
Did you say what causes the shadow?
What the fuck is that, Chemo?
Yeah.
The lack of sun. What? Are you serious with this question? Why would you even ask that, dude? Come on, man.
Yeah. What
The
causes the
shadow
shadow?
on the moon during the lunar eclipse. The shadow
Yeah.
on the moon
Is it a
during
shadow?
the lunar eclipse. Yes, it's a shadow.
Something's not just going in front of it.
Something. What is that something?
How do you know it's a shadow?
Here's
That's the
another.
question,
here's a picture
How
of
do
Jeremy.
you
it
know
right
it's a
here.
shadow? Prove it's a shadow.
Here's
and then
a
we'll
picture
Have
continue.
you seen
Prove
your
it's
own
a
shadow,
shadow.
Jeremy? Have you seen your own shadow before?
Well, if there's
How
the
does that
moon
create it?
is
Jeremy,
just
can you
its
look in the
own
chat?
light, and that part of the moon is just going out.
What
Look at the
if?
chat, Jeremy. There's a shadow.
Prove that is a shadow.
Oh, for fuck's
You
sake.
do realize
Y'all
the moon
fuck-
is its own. Are you asking this question based on the moon being its own light, not the sun lighting up the moon?
No. We're asking the
Exactly. So
question.
you need to
What
think of this
causes?
from the
We have the
perspective of-
mechanism in the globe model. What causes the shadow? We know what it is. Okay.
Yeah, but you're saying on a flat Earth, what's causing
If
this
it's
dark,
not what we
dark
say it
area?
is, then what is it?
You're saying there's a dark area on the moon.
We all know what a shadow looks like.
There's a darker
So from
area,
what you
and I'm
posted-
saying to you,
Oh.
if you understand the Earth, the sun, the moon, makes its own light, then obviously it can put out
Does it
a
now?
light.
The moon is
Positive claim.
Yes,
So
it does.
wait. So how come it
You
gets?
see, we
how
have
come
an
it gets
answer for
blocked, and when it's
almost
blocked,
everything.
There's no
You see,
light
and
from
that's
it?
why we are the leaders of the new school, because you didn't think about that, right? Does the moon have its own light? That's what you should
No,
be
we have
asking.
thought about that, Kima.
Just
Before you
because
ask
you see a
about
dark
eclipses,
spot on the
people,
moon.
you need to be asking, well, is the light coming from the moon? Then obviously, yeah, it's dimming in certain areas.
Okay, so If the moon is producing its own light, that means it produces heat as well, right?
No, it produces like the opposite. Cold light. Cold. It's colder in the moonlight than it is in the shade, basically.
Cold light.
When have you ever seen a light produce cold?
In the moon, if you use a magnifying glass, the moonlight is colder than the shade, which is impossible.
Definitely not true.
Okay. Do you have a test of showing this other than using meat thermometers from eBay?
I was just about to mute you, Bon Jovi. But I didn't mute you, by the way. But yeah, when we're talking about eclipses, lunar eclipses, first of all, you should be asking yourself about the light of the moon. Is it possible that the light is just dimming on that side, creating a darker area, giving the illusion?
In a spherical nature. In a spherical silhouette nature.
It dims in that fashion, yes. So what?
And it only dims when the sun's not hitting that side for some reason, right?
Well, yeah, that's
Chemo
like
could
I
have
said.
gotten a PhD by now. Chemo could have.
Like I said, you've got to think of it from the perspective of the moon has its own light. Yes.
How come the only time we see the sun illuminated is when it's facing the moon illuminated?
Again, now you're asking something else. We were asked to explain the eclipses, and we're asking you: have you looked at it from a perspective where the moon has its own light source? You said no. Now
Yes,
revise
and
your
if
question
the
with
moon
the moon
had its own-
having its own light.
If the moon had its own light, then it would produce some sort of heat, right?
Heat? No. As I said, we've tested that with the magnifying glass, and we found with the magnifying glass.
And we've shown and we've seen. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, well, go on. You go ahead.
No, and we've seen
how about
tests
this?
where that's not true. So I don't know which test you guys are looking at showing that the moon is producing cold light.
Yeah, I mean, you can test it for yourself.
Hey, B-Ball for live. I got a news announcement really quick. Jose's show has started if you guys want to come over there, where Chemo doesn't have the mute
Dude,
button.
don't try to suck people out of gems over there. What is wrong with you, Lale? It's like you're against gem.
Hey, no.
Are you working
OJ's
against Gem?
part of the community. Okay.
Are you working
it's
against
just another
Gem?
place to talk. If we want to go over there, we'll go over there, man.
You can't make
Jeremy's
that announcement
working
in here. That's
forward.
ridiculous.
Thank you, Leo, for that announcement.
Absolutely.
It was a
ridiculous.
little mixed. Personally, at chemo's associated, whatever.
Oh, who cares?
Anywho, me.
They're against you, Gem. If Gem's listening, I've been telling him this
All right,
whole
if you
time
care,
his
then
own
Don, I
people
care.
are against him. So if you're listening, Gem, just
The
take
moon, the
it.
cold moonlight thing we talked before about. There was some studies saying they have evidence of different sleep happening, like under the moon or something.
So
So
I've
they
just
give the moon
destroyed the
some.
globers again, right, Don? So
Oh, did you?
you just exposed that the
Really?
moon.
How's that?
No, you made a positive claim again,
Don,
which you
They're
can't
not
back up
asking
with
anymore
your
about
feelings.
this eclipse, are they?
Right.
Why? Because they now realise the moon creates its own light. Now this
Yep.
question about
Show
how
that.
how
Show that.
does the lunar
Show it how you
eclipse
did
work?
that.
Well,
More, do you have
Chemo.
evidence for that? Evidence?
Chemo.
Yeah, it's a positive
The
claim,
moon
Chemo.
does not make its own light, okay? Because we can see shadows on the moon, and if for some reason the moon is only illuminated when the sun is hitting it at a certain point.
right, that's false.
Only the
because...
side that faces the sun is illuminated.
Okay.
Yep.
What
If
you're
the,
saying
if the moon produces its
essentially-
own light, the entire moon would always be lit.
Okay,
Not
no,
just the
let me
portion
finish
that
my
faces
point.
the sun.
Before
Yeah,
you
there
interrupt.
wouldn't be phases.
Okay, so what you're saying is, now let me finish. Jump in here. So when on Krypton, Superman's parents were wearing that glowing suit, the material. That means I could take any piece of that suit and it will glow. So if I take a moon rock, okay, and then from the moon bring it to the Earth, hold it up, that should glow in my hand like the moon. But we don't see the moon rocks glowing like you say it's being reflected light. So I can show you.
Can you even take yourself seriously anymore, man?
I can show you the moon. I'm going to find it in a
Good
minute
question,
here,
Stein.
where the moon.
I mean,
lights
we've
up
had
the,
nothing but waffle all day.
No, I'm nearly finished. So the moon lights up the clouds around it, proving the light.
Glow from their own light.
All day. It's been the past 6 years she's been
Timo.
here, man. Who could have a PhD
Timo.
in astrophysics by now?
Timo, you just
True.
debunked yourself. If the moon,
Been in the
if the
field for
moon
1
rocks,
year.
if the moon rocks don't glow, then it's not moon's own light.
You just said the moon produces its own light. Rocks from the moon don't glow.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore, the moon doesn't glow with its own light.
Exactly.
That is science for you right there.
So here's a picture of the moon lighting up its
That's
surroundings.
the new school.
No, I'm going to show
Did we
you.
win the argument or lose the argument?
No, I'm going to show you a picture of the moon lighting up its surroundings, like the clouds around it, proving that the moon has its own
Yeah,
light.
that's reflective. That's reflected light. Yes, that's reflected.
Jesus, Chemo, you just said moon rocks don't have their own light, and now you're saying they do. I haven't figured out what you're saying.
It's a cold light.
No, you're not listening, are you?
Light's
If
not
we
cold.
really had moon rock, we really went to the moon and took a piece of the moon, we would be able to reflect that piece of moon rock in the same way we see. Look at this bright moon. At night, our moon, we should be able to light a light on the moon, on that moon rock, and it's bright like this moon, like this, right? But we don't see that with the fake moon rock. We just see a rock.
It's a badly taken photo, Chemo. If you've ever actually
You
taken
see
a photo
how
of
it
the
makes them
moon,
mad,
you can actually see the
Chemo?
face of it under correct exposure settings.
Oh,
It makes
i.e.,
them mad.
how
They
much
get
light you're
absolutely
allowing to
raging
come into
being
your
funny.
lens.
See, Chemo?
Like
They
that.
can make their
Nobody's mad.
they
What are
can
you
make
talking
their
about?
rocks light up and
Hey,
heat
Chemo,
up, but they can't make
yeah.
their rocks.
More wisdom. Are we hearing more
They
wisdom from
can't
you?
make their rocks glow cold.
People, you're not letting anyone else speak.
There's another
Beach?
picture there, Chemo.
Beach
It
is just
actually
sitting
shows
there.
I'm
a
saving
allowing
brain
people-
cells.
Beach
I'm
is
saving
just sitting
people's
there
brain
allowing
cells,
people
Chemo.
just to overtalk the new flat earthers that they wanted to give space for. This big plan you had going down the window again, isn't it?
He's not new. He's not new at all. What are you talking about?
Anyway, what were you saying, reincarnated?
Yeah, it makes them mad that they can't produce a cold light. But
Right.
they can produce a hot light though, and like a hot rock.
Can you
But
show
they
me a
can't-
cold
they
light?
can't-
You
They
can
can't produce
you
a
can
cold
produce
rock.
hot light. You can produce hot light or heating light because that goes according to the second law of thermodynamics. Cold light would go against it, so no cold moonlight.
Take that out. Take
No,
that
with
out.
experiments, we can show that the moonlight is colder than the shade.
Because heat doesn't move from cold to hot.
No, but with the moonlight, we can show colder.
Can't because
The
no, you
light with
can't.
the moonlight should be warmer than the shade, but we've shown it to be colder than the shade.
Okay.
So that is practically impossible on a
It's-
heliocentric model.
Yeah, their minds.
So you're saying that the second law of thermodynamics does not
Moman is
apply
a
there?
troll. Their minds don't get it though.
Fuck
That the
off,
cold
kid.
light can produce a light,
Right.
and they don't
Explain what
know.
a
Whenever you
cold
ever
light
seen
is.
something, whenever you ever seen light produce cold in reality,
The
here on
moon.
Earth,
The moonlight.
The moon.
no,
Yes.
anywhere else,
No, just the moonlight.
What?
because
Different
I've
from
never
everything
never
else.
seen any kind of light
It's
produce.
not
cold.
man-made. We can't reproduce that. That's some.
Can you show
cold
me a
fusion
shadow?
business
Can you show me
going
a
on
shadow
there,
on a
you know?
light? Can you
That's
show
some
me a shadow
alien
on a light?
technology going on there. We can't produce such technology like that. What are you talking about?
Timo, you're saying that the second law of thermodynamics is bunk.
I'm saying that right now we need an explanation for why it's colder in the light than the shade.
Yeah, radiative cooling and things like that. So your controls are fucked. That's the explanation.
Radiation or cool? What is that? What does that even mean? Who made that up?
Oh, so
That
that
is when
means
you
you
have
haven't been
something,
watching any of
something
the
that
All
is
of this
hot.
idea. I told you about this radiation cool.
What?
See, that's the problem. You
A
guys
radiative
watch.
cooling?
You guys watch your own. You guys
Yeah,
watch
what
your
is
own
it? No,
videos,
radiation
but
or
you don't watch
cooling.
it. You don't watch the debunking videos to show
Just
you
tell
why
me
you're
about
wrong.
radiation or cooling. What is it?
I said radiative cooling. That's when you have like a fucking cup of tea on your table and it radiates heat away and cools down. Don't you know that?
No.
Hey, so I just posted a
Oh,
picture in the
Jesus.
chat. Can you tell me where the light from the moon is? Why the moon is not illuminated?
What in your picture here?
Yes.
That's just the sun, isn't it?
No.
What is it? You got the video
solar
for it,
eclipse.
so we've got
It's
more
an eclipse.
information.
It's a solar eclipse.
I need more information.
It's a solar eclipse, Emo. Where's the light from the moon?
Where's the
if
video
moon
so
is
we have
illuminated?
more information?
Weird, right? Weird. That's weird, Chemo.
How about
so it
more
stops lighting
information?
when it goes in front of the sun? That's
I'm not
weird.
dismissing. I'm asking for more information. Where's the video?
That's certainly
It's
weird.
just a picture.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
if you
weird
got the
about
video,
that.
I'll be able to
You
explain
can look
this
at
just
look
like
at
that.
Chemo. You can look
It's
at
daytime.
any video of a solar eclipse.
No, but
right?
your
And
particular
you can
one,
see
where's
that
the
there
video
is no
to it?
light. You can see that there's no light coming from the moon.
All right, but I'm asking where's the video?
yeah.
To this?
Double L.
That's not an L.
Nothing but L's.
What?
Oof.
You've seen the moon light up.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt.
Only when that side is facing the sun.
If it's close to the sun like that, maybe it doesn't light up.
Oh, Veach runs away again.
If the moon produced its own light, the entire moon would always be lit. Not just the side that faces
What
the
a
sun.
Look, I
That-
can't tell anything from this
that is
image
epic.
here.
It's
with, like,
3
the devil
L's.
horns. This looks like some devil horns. Keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like the devil and stuff. So where's the video?
Yeah.
I know.
What? How can you show me devil
You have
horns and
no
be like,
idea
explain
about
these devil
shapes,
horns?
do you, Chemo?
It's a lunar eclipse.
You have no idea about shapes.
Can you show me the video?
Scale.
You got no idea about flat Earth.
Dude,
Why would a video make
I'll
any
run
difference?
rings around you in flat
Okay,
Earth.
so
What are you
we've got
talking
now
about?
4 of us trying to have a conversation. Who's going to give? I will give. Sheeple, what say you? You're going to allow Beeble for life,
Here's
or
another
is
one.
Beeble alive going to allow you to
Yep.
talk?
I'm good. I'm going back to my
Here's another
coffee.
one.
It's losing heat to radiative
Thank
cooling.
you, Beeble. Thank you, Sheeple. Thank you. Go on then, Beeble. We've got reincarnated here.
Yes, that's the moon going in front of the sun. And
Okay,
he's
so
like,
how come
oh,
the moon
okay.
is not-
How come it's not lighting up? How come it's not lighting up? Why?
Well, you
'Cause
guys
it's-
are claiming
it's-
that the
it's
moon
close.
produces its own light.
You're gonna see a black moon when it goes close to the sun. The moon is so freaking bright, it's gonna look black.
It's so bright, it's gonna look black. Really?
Yes.
Okay. I think we're done here.
Okay. No, it's not okay. We need some more information to make a proper judgment on this, Beeb. No? Do you know? You know what
Well,
I'm
if the,
saying?
like
Do you
I
know?
said, if the moon
Take
if the
two
moon produces
objects,
its own light,
like a light bulb
we
and
should always
another
see-
ball, and stand back and look at it. You'll see that the
Yeah,
ball
let-
will start making like a silhouette because of the bright light bulb will make it dark.
Yeah, but is the ball producing its own light?
The sun is. The moon is.
The
sorry.
sun has a much brighter light than the moon.
Yes.
If I have two lights, one bright and one a little
lesser
bit dimmer,
light. Yeah.
is the brighter one gonna make the less bright one black?
Yes. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Seriously, really?
Yep.
Show me that, please.
I would think the opposite would happen to make the lighter the lesser light one brighter.
Nope. You need a really bright light and one really dim light.
All right,
it's really easy.
Make a short demonstration and show me this happening, please.
I have a candle in front of a
You don't have
search.
to do it right now.
I have a candle in. searchlight, and the candle is going to be dark. That's what you're saying.
The
The
thing
candle's
is
gonna be
with
black.
the lunar eclipse, you guys can't prove that it's a shadow or an object getting in front of us and the moon, causing there to be the appearance of a shadow. You know,
stay on
once
one
again, this
topic,
is
and
an
yes, we
idea.
can.
Once again, this is. I'm almost done, sir. Once again, this is an idea that you guys have that you can't prove, that you somehow want us to disprove. This is absolutely
Well,
ridiculous and
Jeremy,
preposterous
we
and an
know what
outrage.
shadows are, though. We know what shadows are. We know what
That's a
shadows look like.
presupposition. How do you know it's
Yeah,
a
it
shadow?
is.
How
That's
do you know it's
clearly
a
the
shadow?
moon.
Have you been
That's
there?
clearly the moon going in front of the sun.
We know where the sun is, though, Chemo.
Yeah,
Do you
your
deny that?
worldview is based on must be, must be, must be. It must be
No.
this.
Do you not? Do you deny that
In
we know
your
where the
world,
sun is?
Yes,
in
of
your
course. You
world,
At
think it's
all
92
times,
million
know it's
miles
at
away.
black.
all times, at anywhere you live, we know where the sun is, right?
You're millions of miles off. You have no idea where the sun is.
No, we know which direction the sun is, right?
I don't believe that. Where is it? How do you know how
You
high
don't
it is?
agree that. You don't agree that I
You
can't
don't know
look
the
right
direction
now
the
and
sun
know
is.
which way I need to face wherever I might be to see the sun. You don't believe that.
How
No,
high?
because
How
you
far
guys
away
think
is
we
it
need
from
to
you?
look.
You need to know how far it is to get an
Chemo,
accurate measurement.
Chemo, there's times where you would say point at the direction of the sun. We would point in the sky somewhere, and they would look underneath them and point down at the ground.
Point in the sky after sunset.
So yeah, that was a
Yeah,
good
no one
question.
points to the
Where
sky
would
after sunset, Jeremy.
to the
That's
sun?
ridiculous.
Apparently, he
Yeah,
would.
point to the sun at midnight.
During a lunar
Which
eclipse, where are you going to point to see the sun?
Yeah, you guys are going
How
to
many
point
hours is
below
the
your
lunar
feet.
eclipse?
right at the lunar eclipse.
What's up?
So we
Where
know
you
exactly where the sun is
No,
during
you don't know
daytime,
exactly
anywhere on
where
the
the sun is. You have
anywhere
an
in any
idea.
location.
You can know it's
So
in
we
that
know
general
that.
direction.
Well, we know in the general direction,
Mm-hmm.
based on other observers. You know, for example, the total lunar eclipse coming
Based
won't be
on
seen by the
others'
people in the north.
based on others' personal dome. Go on.
Or confirmation that it's not where they are.
You've
Yep,
got to
those things
include
like
these
that.
factors.
Confirmation that
personal
certain
dome.
places, no matter how much they look, no matter what type of optics, no matter how high they get on a mountain, they won't be able to see the lunar eclipse. Yep, we know that. So
but you've got
we
to
know that the sun is in the position it is, where the moon is in its position, and we know where the earth is, and we know that at this time, this is when a shadow was cast, and the only logical thing that casts a spherical or circular shadow over the course of a few hours is a spherical object. Now
What's
you've
your
got to say
presupposition?
all those
You
things
just
we
go
don't
on and
understand.
on and
Yet
on and on
any
and on.
other time we know where the moon and the
Sheepo.
sun is. Any other
Sheepo,
time
it's the moon.
except during a lunar eclipse, we
And
know
you
where the
can't prove
the
it's
sun is.
not the moon.
Well, just a minute. I'd like to hold Jeremy to something he
That
said a
that's
moment
your
ago.
whole
Where
argument
in the
right
sky,
there.
Jeremy, would you
Wait,
point
someone's
at the sun at midnight?
Sorry, was that for me?
Yeah, where would you point at the sun?
The
midnight?
opposite direction of when it was.
So when it goes below the horizon, which way should we start pointing? To the left?
Depends
or
on what
to the
time of
right?
the year it is. I would
Specified
follow the
midnight.
horizon
So where
essentially.
exactly are you going to point at midnight?
Depends
Let's
on what
just
time of
say
year
tonight.
it is, where I
Tonight.
am on Earth, what time of year it is.
Tonight.
Right.
A lot of
At
factors.
some
Can you
point,
can you
once it drops
can you
below
ask
the
me a question
horizon.
with
Tonight, where you
Can you
are.
ask me a question with specificity?
I am. Tonight, where you are at midnight, where would you point in the sky to point at the sun?
I would point somewhere in a northerly direction.
Somewhere? Where?
So
Like what
basically,
kind of-
after it goes down below the horizon,
Oh,
you
wait a
have
minute.
to point
what kind of elevation
to a
would you be
different
pointing
direction.
at?
Well, prospectively, I mean, if the elevation could stay the same, maybe it could change. But I mean, prospectively,
Okay, well, you're not given a number. Give me like a range of numbers. Preferably a smaller range, but whatever
numbers
you got.
for what? Range of numbers for what?
Elevation in degrees.
I don't have the elevation of the sun. That's another idea you guys have that you want us to debunk. The range, the distance, another idea you guys have. We can't be debunking your ideas. I have ideas of unicorns and leprechauns. You can't debunk them.
That's a good point, Jeremy.
They're salty.
Well, I mean,
If
it
salty
is
what you
upset.
call asking for specificity, then okay.
Like your mic's a little bit low for me.
I know.
You honestly think that's a good point, that we have unicorns and leprechauns, things that have never been observed before, no evidence for, yet you can invoke for absolutely no reason and think
You talk
everyone
about the
else is gonna
globe?
think
Is he talking about the
like what
globe,
you
Chemo?
You
is
like
true.
Bigfoot and
Is he projecting?
Yeah,
like
the
Bigfoot and
curvature's
Loch
never
Ness
been
Monster?
observed, rotation's never been observed, the Earth has never been observed, but he still believes in unicorns.
Yeah, well, we have evidence for all of those.
All right. How about instead of unicorns and leprechauns, I use big.
I'm telling you that the Earth is flat.
That's a cool
about instead of
story, bro, but you
unicorns
can't
and-
back it up.
Is my mic low?
The Earth being
Everyone's
flat
mic is low, but it
is
looks
not
low.
a shape, and the Earth has a shape because it's a.
Yeah, but Nidhogg,
You can
why
say
is...
flat all you want.
Instead of unicorns and leprechauns, since you didn't like that, how about we use Bigfoots and Loch Ness monsters?
You can do those. Those are also fairy tales. Good job,
Well,
Jeremy.
how about
We have
curvature and
evidence.
rotation, Jeremy? That's also a myth that hasn't been
Those
proven.
are
Yeah,
measured.
we have evidence of
Try
Bigfoot.
again.
The difference is we have Bigfoot evidence of Bigfoot and Loch Ness monsters.
Just
we
because,
do.
Jeremy, somebody
It's a great
thinks that
story,
Bigfoot is a real thing without someone observing it, measuring it, sciencing it, then it's not true.
I'm just saying these things they think they have evidence for is flimsy.
We do have evidence for them.
Oh,
They've been
You have
what
evidence.
measurements do
I
you
have
have?
evidence for Bigfoot.
Where are these Globers at? I'm their
Jeremy,
Bigfoot.
where's your evidence that the sun
Well,
is
Nidhogg
flat
is saying he's
midnight?
got evidence, and let's get into the evidence. Let's not waste any
We have
time.
evidence for
What is
globe.
the
You've been
evidence
told
for
it a
the...
billion times, Chemo. I'm not reiterating it for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let's
you
go
said
over
there's
the
evidence for a globe. Let's take a look at that. So, do you have measurable curvature, and who's measured it?
Yes, many people have measured it. We
No, they don't. I already tested them earlier. I tried to
Oh, you
ask
did.
them for
You
bending
tested
water, and
whether
they
there's
couldn't do it.
curvature. It's a
Well,
cool story.
Nidhogg says he
bend
has
the water.
evidence of curvature, so all we need is Nidhogg to tell us who measured the Earth, when, where, how, and can we see their measurements?
You can Google it, Chemo. I'm not your
I've
professor.
heard all these before. What I want to hear is evidence for Jeremy's new claim that he can point in the sky at the sun.
Is
at
that
midnight.
Slacker again?
Yes, it is.
Super low Slacker.
Whoever you're talking,
No,
whoever's talking
deal
right
with
now
it.
is very, very low.
We can't
Like,
hear
no one
Slacker,
can-
yeah. So look, Nidhogg, we've got evidence of Bigfoot. It's on Google, just Google it. The
Can
next.
you hear me now?
Let's go to the next point.
Cool.
Rotation,
Yep,
Nidhogg.
the evidence shows that it's a hoax. So next point.
The evidence on Google shows that the globe is a hoax.
Does it? Let's see some of that. Point it
Yeah,
out. to
just
me.
go into Google and you'll find it.
Evidence.
Anyway, let's not waste any time. Let's go on to the next point. Rotation, Nidhogg. What is the evidence for...
Baseless claims. That's all you got, Chemo. Cool.
No, the
Let me just
second
answer
point.
Slacker up.
Second point. What is the evidence for rotation?
Let me just
There is
answer
a
Slacker.
thing. You can look it up.
Let
Okay,
me just answer
1-0
Slacker
for
real
us.
quick.
I can't hear
Let me
him.
just answer
Nidhogg, you said we have evidence.
We
What
can,
is...
we can invoke your Netflix thing where the guy spent
two what?
prove the Earth spins.
Oh, the
The
gyro
15
where
degree
Bob
curve.
said that it proves that the
Good old
sky
Bob
is
Nodell
moving.
proving
No.
the Earth spins. That was a good one.
Discovered 15 degree per hour drift.
Are you saying
we-
that
we
that's
experienced
where
15
he
degrees
detected how much the sun was moving?
No, he didn't. The sun doesn't move.
Yeah, the sun moves at
Oh,
15 degrees an hour. That's what he picked up.
What?
Sun does
Oh,
not
did you
move
measure the movement of
per
the
hour.
sun
The Earth
if
rotates
the
15
gyroscope was standing on the ground?
No,
Wait,
it
I thought
detected
Bob got, I thought he got
movement.
not 15. Didn't he get not 15 though?
Well, if the Earth moves under the gyro, then the Earth should move under a helicopter.
Exactly right, Chemo. And
Yes,
under
Hey,
aeroplanes.
Globus. Is that right, Globus?
G'day, Chemo.
G'day.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If g'day. Like you said, if it rotates underneath the gyro, it should then definitely rotate underneath hot air balloons, drones, as you were saying, Chemo, helicopters. mainly any form of aircraft that leaves the the
And it
reference
does.
frame.
But you know what? We
And-
also
and
have, we have the frictive force of our atmosphere on the surface of the Earth, and so yeah, because of that, it
the what
spins with the
force?
Earth. There you go. The frictive force. It's a word you learn when you go to school.
That's fine. That's
Hey,
fine.
dude.
I know.
Which
I
force?
just
The
didn't, I
frictive
just didn't
force?
hear you,
Which
sorry.
force of the air
Globus?
is
Saying the
moving in the
frictive
direction
force.
of the wind, The
buddy.
frictive force.
So,
Is he talking about friction?
seeing as though gases have no intermolecular bonds, they wouldn't be subject to this friction that you speak of. So you have failed there. You see.
You can put gas and you can put a fan in there, and the fan spinning will circulate all of the gas in the chamber, not just the air that's touching the fan blade. So
All right,
you're
look, let's not waste any more time. Look, let's no point. So, apart from Bob's experiment that shows the sky or the sun is moving at 15 degrees, what else do you have to prove the Earth is rotating?
Hmm.
Yeah.
More
Wait,
evidence,
stop.
please.
How is it showing that the sun is rotating at 15 degrees? Stop.
No, but we can't.
How is it showing
That's up for contention. It could be the Earth. It could be the sun. Nidhogg will never
can't
know
be the
unless
sun.
he's able to provide
Ask
another.
Jeremy if it could be the sun, because that's what his subsolar point's supposed to show. If it was the sun, then we see it at different points during the tropics.
What
It
about
would
the
move at
stars?
different
Could it be the
speeds, and
stars?
It doesn't. It always moves at 15 degrees per hour.
Could it be the
It
stars?
can't be the sun moving.
Could it be the stars?
The sun
It
is the
could
star.
be
Try
the
What's
again.
the matter,
yes?
Globers? You can't prove that you're moving?
Just did. Thanks for not listening to anything we said.
Nah, because the Earth is immovable.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a cool claim with nothing.
Interesting.
What's the evidence here being provided, guys?
You need to provide evidence, 'cause when you say
Oh,
it's
the evidence
He
for
doesn't need to
rotation
provide
is,
evidence.
is
I'm
Bob's device.
sorry.
That,
I'm sorry for talking before you did, Chemo.
sorry, go on.
As I was saying, it's irrelevant to prove the immovable comment because immovable does not mean something is not moving.
Yeah, but the
It will
positive
move
claim
when I
here-
say it to move.
Yeah.
The positive claim here on the globe side would be the gas
Right.
spinning.
Yeah, but
I don't
Termin,
understand.
are you saying the Earth is moving with 4 pillars underneath it? Don't be silly, Termin. The Earth
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
move
very silly.
because it's on 4 pillars.
That was a really cool straw man.
Now,
you just
back
built
to
up and then knocked
Nidhogg.
down Chemo.
Nidhogg, that was question number 2. So, other than Bob's experiment which shows the sky or the stars or the sun moving, that's what you have, yeah?
You haven't handled that one yet, Chemo. We're not going to move on until you can figure that one out.
No, I'm saying we don't know the cause, do we? We didn't
Video.
manipulate the
We
Earth's
do know the
rotation.
cause. You don't know the cause because you're dumb. We
Well,
know
Did you
and
manipulate?
it's not our job to educate you. That's a you problem, not an us problem.
Come on,
Did
let's not start with the ad homs here, guys, please.
Did you manipulate the
Or
Earth's
do you have
rotation?
video of the pillars?
Did you manipulate the Earth's
Any video of the pillars?
Did you manipulate? Did you manipulate the Earth's rotation, Nidhogg, to show that the cause of the gyro was the moving Earth?
Good
Nope,
question. Did he
didn't
manipulate, guys? The independent variable is actually what Chemo's asking here, right?
Absolutely.
We didn't
yeah.
have to manipulate the
You
Earth
can,
measurement. Sorry, try again.
Say that again, Nidhogg. You
you
didn't
can
measure
also-
what?
We didn't have to manipulate the Earth to make a measurement. Try again.
Yes, but if you're measuring your presupposition, how do you know it's the Earth and not something else?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it is something else, then I challenge you to show it. Until then, the Earth is the best.
No,
fit.
stop. I can answer that. So we take that ring laser gyroscope and put it on a toy globe and rotate it. And we look if we get the same results.
Excellent. Can you show
Why
us where
isn't the Earth moving?
Has done it.
Globers, can you
Has
tell
also
me
done it in his experiment. already.
why
Can
isn't the Earth
can the guy that
moving?
sounds like a 10-year-old stop interrupting?
I'm not sure he's 18 to be clear.
Anyway, look, as we proceed,
Oh.
the idea is that the gyroscope is the effect is caused Nidhogg by the Earth spinning, rotating, as it were. So,
Yep.
in order to know this, we would have to manipulate our independent variable, which is Earth spin, Earth rotation. So, how did you manipulate
Not
your independent
important.
variable?
You don't have to do that. That's QE nonsense. You don't
No,
have to
it's not. It's
manipulate the
actually
Earth
the
spin.
scientific method. It's independent of QE, you know.
Yeah, the scientific method is taught in grade school. It's
Where
not the
did
be
you
all and end
prove?
all.
It is.
All right, so look
Where-
again.
where
this
did
is,
you
this
prove
is not
that
very
the Earth
difficult,
was moving?
Nick Talk. Look, we build a device, put it on the floor, on the table, whatever. It starts giving us how do we know it's because of rotation?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Kimo?
So
Everyone
let's just
else
say we're
was
going to build a device, no presuppositions.
Kimo, I explained this already. Like, if you put this gyroscope on a globe, on a toy globe, and you rotate it, you will see that this gyroscope picks up the movement of this globe, which is rotating. So we can say that the gyroscope picks up the rotation or the movement of the object it's standing on.
Gyro moves, and if you move the gyro, it picks up that motion. So, I mean, yeah, it detects motion.
Have you done this,
Not
Sam?
a hard
It's
thing.
not detecting the motion of things above it, only its own motion, like the object it's standing on, which is a result.
Have you done this, Sam?
What's it called?
That's how they test them,
I think
Kimo.
your good old friend Bob Noodle has even done it. I have something like this in memory.
You know how they test the gyro, Kimo?
No, how does it work?
Well, they let it measure, right? And then they turn it back the amount that it moved the opposite way.
Yeah, but what I'm interested in is, let's
Getting
say,
it back to zero.
if you're not presupposing anything, you build a device, you put it
It's
on
not
the ground.
presupposing anything. You create a device that
interrupt
knows how to
people,
measure
please.
itself. That's
Please,
what you do.
Don't interrupt. Please.
Yeah,
Let
but what I'm
people
just
finish.
saying is, you're starting from scratch, no presupposition. Build a device, you put it on the
Much
ground,
better.
there's an effect, and you jump to the Earth is moving. How did you get to that point?
No. The device doesn't give a fuck what it's on. The device only knows how to measure its own position in 3D space.
Okay.
And it measures any deviation or movement of itself while it's in a fixed position.
Yeah.
So if the table it's sitting on is not interrupted by anybody, and the table is inside the house, which is on the Earth, and nobody touches it, and it measures itself moving, what moved it?
How did you program it to make it think it's in free space?
It only knows deviation from its
How did
starting
you program
point.
it to do that?
Because that's how it's designed.
That's what I'm asking. How did you
It
program
measures
the
itself
computer
on
to
3
say,
axes.
I know I'm in free space. How did you get it to do that?
Because when it starts off, it's at zero.
You don't have to explain how it works in order to understand it does work, Kimo.
No, I just
Try
want,
again.
just like
Next
one
topic.
thing, how you got it to realize it was.
It's
in
not
free
fucking
space.
relevant. We know that the
Good
ring
question,
laser
guys.
gyroscope picks up the movement of the
You
object
don't need
it's
to explain
standing
a
on.
combustion engine to you to tell you
No,
that a car
I want to
can
know
drive.
how the device thinks it's not a part of the table
Then
or the
go
ground
look it
and
up,
separate.
Kimo, and stop asking us.
Exactly.
It's not relevant to the topic.
Yes, it
How
is.
did the device
It's
come to
this
this?
simple.
relevant.
It's this simple, Kimo. Let me answer it real simple. Have you
Right.
seen a stopwatch before?
Yeah.
Okay. How does a stopwatch work?
Press start, you press start.
Start, stop, reset, right? So you connect the gyro to a software that's able to read the readings that come from the gyro directly, and you hit start. It counts then in seconds increment throughout an hour. From the moment you hit start, it begins reading its own position. So it starts at 0 and begins to measure its own position. Nothing is happening till you hit start on the stopwatch, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about how does it know it's in free space, not connected.
Doesn't matter where it is, Kimo. That's your point. It could be on a roof. It could be in a car. It could be on the ground. It could be buried in the ground.
You're missing
It
the
only
point.
knows its own position from the moment you
You're
hit
missing
start.
the point. The device thinks
So it's
in
measuring
free space.
time on a flat Earth. It's measuring time on a flat Earth.
No rhyme.
The device thinks it's in free space. The Earth is moving underneath it. How do you get it to operate like that? Why can't you
It
get
doesn't
a
care where it
helicopter?
is, Chemo.
Why can't you build a
fucking moron.
helicopter to get it to think it's in free space and have the Earth move underneath it?
If you put it in a helicopter, it would pick up the noise of the vibration of the helicopter as it went higher and higher.
Essentially,
Why are you
Essentially, what
letting
Chemo is
Chemo
trying
bog this
to ask here,
conversation down with
guys.
irrelevant nonsense?
Go
We've
on,
measured the
Globus. Take
spin of
over
the
for a
Earth
little
at
bit
50
because
meters per hour.
they're not.
If Chemo has
essentially,
an issue with how gyroscopes measure that, then Chemo can go educate himself
You're gonna
on
let
it. But the
Globus
rest
talk
of
a
us
little bit.
understand it works. Next topic.
He's not. He's really not.
Well, go on, Globus.
Essentially, what you were trying to get at. Essentially, what Chemo is trying to get at is that you know, the Earth should be spinning underneath helicopters. You know, that's what he was
alluding
trying
to.
to.
If they can make the device
exactly.
think that it's in
That is
free
fucking
space.
BS that the Earth should spin below helicopter.
Because you've made the device
should,
think
because-
it's in free space. It's on the ground,
Exactly,
on the
another-
table, but
a
somehow
different
you've made
reference
it
frame, you
think
see.
it's in free space. How?
That's flat Earth proof.
It measures
right there.
deviation from its starting point for the third time.
That you can do that with a helicopter.
You put it in the helicopter, and it's going to pick up a
Would
whole
a-
bunch of different shit.
No,
Would a
make the helicopter the
deviate?
device.
Hang on, will a helicopter deviate from its starting point if it just hovered?
Oh wait, they put 2 of these in commercial jets.
Oh,
No,
That's
for
weird.
goodness
Why
sake.
the
Now
fuck
who's
would they do
who's
that?
who's
Answer
avoiding
the
the point now, sheeple?
Helicopters move with the
Running away,
atmosphere.
The Earth
sheeple,
does
like a little
not
If a
sheep.
helicopter was to hover, right, and leave
The fact that you
the
guys don't
reference
understand
frame,
how helicopters
There's
work.
no
if it were to leave the non-inertial reference frame, the spinning Earth, you see, and enter the inertial reference frame of the atmosphere, then and it just hovered, say, in one spot, then would it deviate from its original position, sheeple?
No one understands the hypothetical you just said. The atmosphere moves with the Earth. Therefore, helicopters
How
and
can it
everything
move
that is
with the
powered-
Earth, though?
everything
So
that is
then,
powered moves
okay,
with
if you
the
say
Earth as
that,
well.
then if you say that it moves with the Earth, then